Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. We are giving you guys another live with the super panel about Married at First Sight, Season 13, Episode 3. I want you to make sure you grab your popcorn, grab your notepads and pens, grab your wigs, grab your edges, make sure you find a good seat, and enjoy the show tonight. If you're new to this channel, we do lives every Thursday when we do Married at First Sight. We do every Saturday. We do Put a Ring on It, All Ready to Love, depending on what show is on. Guys, if you're new to the channel, like it, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification. What the up, loads. And for those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Listen. Stay hydrated out here because the streets are hot, okay? Let me make sure my camera's a bit straight here. It's a little bit looped. I see a little bit, just a bit chunky there. You get me? So yes, we are talking to you guys about, well, Married at First Sight. And I think, I just finished watching the episode. It wasn't action-packed per se. It wasn't anything crazy. You know what I mean? Maybe because I've been watching Love Island so much now, the action I'm seeing from Married at First Sight really isn't action in the way I just saw recently. But I think there's some really great things that we can discuss in this particular episode as well. We had Bao and Johnny, and I think one of the great things we can talk about is this physical touch and how you're going to deal with a partner who isn't so much in tune with physical touch. It's actually the lowest thing on her scale. How do you handle that? How do you go about dealing with that in a relationship? And hopefully, maybe some of our cast members, maybe our panel members, sorry if I say cast members, panel members have gone through that and can kind of give us their personal experiences or what they feel would be good wisdom in how to go about that. Another thing which will be really interesting to discuss as well going forward is also, I think, dealing with, Gil and dealing also with Myla as well, because I think we saw a bit more of the tiger in Myla come out, just in the way that she was addressing certain issues. I didn't think there was actually a problem in the fact that she was voicing her opinion. I felt like it was just the tone that was taken. It may come off wrong to the rest of the family members. I think just her conversations with some of the when she was talking to both sets of family, I think the friends, when he was explaining that, girls are a bit cheap, and she said, "This is my lifestyle. I'm going to stick to my lifestyle." I said, "Oh, okay, sorry, sis. You're going to stick to that lifestyle then." And, I think obviously it's about the kiss situation as well, which I think was a fair point. She can push back on that, which is, y'all ain't going to pressure us into kissing. Like that's just, it is what it is, right? Again, I think good boundaries there. Again, it just might be the tone. Just might be the tone that how you do it that may rub off a bit wrongly to the family members. That's no issue. We have obviously Michaela and Zach. I think there was rarely any problems apart from what Michaela was again reminding us how sexually attracted she is to her husband, which again probably not a problem again, but could be something that maybe in the future. Nothing really heavy. But we did see her talking to the parents, and the parents were going on and on about how great their son is. I don't know if they've kind of over pampered him with a little bit of praise, and I don't know, because the boy's suffering with some level of confidence sometimes when he sees himself, and I'm surprised because his parents always big him up seemingly. So there may be something else we need to explore around that, but he did explain how when he was in school, he did get bullied, and being in an all-white school as well, being one of the few black people, his complexion was an issue. That's something we can also discuss as well. Maybe some of our experiences we can kind of share as well going forward. I think also as well, there was I guess for Michaela and Zach, when Zach spoke to her family, they got onto him. They got onto him and said, obviously, I can't remember what they asked the question, exact question they asked him, but they asked him a question, and he was stumbling about. I can't remember what the actual question was, and he gave an answer like, "You'll find out in 2 weeks' time when she comes and speaks to you." And it wasn't really convincing. Do you know what it was? It wasn't the answer itself; it was the delivery. Like if you had to say, "Listen, look, you're gonna find out in 2 weeks' time how great of a partner I am." They could have said something else. They'd be like, "Trust me, you're gonna find out in 2 weeks." It's the confidence from the delivery that would have stopped them from asking again and thinking that his response wasn't great. Another point I want to say is for another couple, so I should say even is Jose and what's her name? Sorry, her name's gone out of my head. Jose and Rosa Parks. What's her name again? Charlie, what's her name again, bro? Hey, what's her old girl's name? Let me just look at my notes, bro. Boy, I don't remember her name. Her name's gone right out of my head. Jose, I put Jose and wife. That's how bad it is in my notes. Okay, cool. I'll remember her name later on. I'm sure it'll come to me later on. But you know what it was? Rachel, thank you guys. What's really interesting about them is I think they got what we said in the beginning is what's going to happen. His need for perfection actually stems from insecurity, right? He started talking about his big nose and he's not 6 foot. And I said, that insecurity is fueling your perfectionism. And that is going to potentially destroy Rachel because your need for perfectionism has come from an insecurity. And you're going to expect that from her. And she's not the perfect wife because she's only human, right? Because everything's perfect in life. And I feel like he's going to end up sabotaging the relationship if he doesn't get help quickly because of his perfectionism, right? And Rachel, I love what she did about asking for accountability from her friends. If I start changing or whatever, snatch my wig, get me. You know what I'm saying? Like, just shake me a little bit. You know what I mean? And I respected that because that's a good way to keep yourself accountable if you feel like, you have a potential to slide and give yourself over to a man that you shouldn't necessarily give yourself over to. So I totally, I totally get it. I totally hear I totally hear her side of things and seeing where she's coming from. I think she may be still recovering from. I'm not totally convinced by her confidence yet. I know she said she had she lost some weight and went to the gym, but anybody who has lost weight, gone to the gym can tell you this 100%. Your mindset shifts in terms of, yes, your self-image, but in terms of self-value, that comes with work. You can't change that by going to the gym. That actually comes with you actually putting work in to discover who you are, what you're about, what you value, and how you value yourself. That takes time. That is not a gym process. I can tell you that for free because I'm one of those gym people. Okay? I was a fat kid who turned into the gym. It doesn't change the mind. The mind needs to go through a process. I don't know if she's fully changed enough to actually deal with someone like Jose just yet. So that's another thing. And the last thing is Brett and Ryan. Listen, can I just say it again? I absolutely think Brett is hot. Okay? Listen, I love black women, right? But Brett, if Ryan don't work out, call me. Okay? Listen, but not on the real stuff. I think Ryan and Brett, I don't know. Do you know what it is? Ryan is positive, but his facial expressions make me feel sad. Every time I look at him, I feel sad. I don't understand why that is, but he's got always a downcast expression and it never looks happy. But yet he's a happy person, always positive. It's kind of odd. So that's something I don't know. I mean, I didn't necessarily see any potential flags, but they did speak about both of them not potentially being, I know they spoke about not being each other's physical types. But again, we can discuss that tonight as well and see what everyone's thinking, what is feeling with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure with Ryan and Brett. We haven't had enough information. I didn't see enough to be able to say yay or nay. I just saw them kind of talking, ambling a little bit here and there, but nothing yet of concreteness that's going to make me go, yeah, they're not going to make it or they are going to make it. Do you know what I mean? I'm just in the middle right now, nonchalant about the two of them. So yes, that being said, that is all the couples. We're gonna have a little bit of a good conversation with the crew and the super panel, and discuss the different couples, how they feel, but also as well behavior. Okay, that's the most important point. Please, tonight, nobody's coming for any wigs or hairlines. Let's leave those for Put a Ring on It. All right. I know some of my super panelists love coming for there were certain people's hairline out here. You know what I'm saying? Leave him alone. Okay, leave him alone. All right. No, playing. All right, cool. It's time for the super panel chat. By the way, next week, guys, when they actually start doing honeymoon phases, then we'll bring in the audience so you guys can come in and have your first open floor, right? Because it's really, at the moment, just too boring. I'm not going to lie to you. There's not enough stuff going on to start having people from the audience. Next week, we start the audience stuff where you want to come, have a little chat before the super panel come on. Okay? So let me introduce my people. You know what I'm saying? My people to the stage. My panelists out here. You know what I'm saying? First and foremost, let me introduce to the stage. You know what I'm saying? I do this, but I don't know if that's gang welfare. I better not do that. They might shoot me. But you know, her name makes me think of that. You know what I'm saying? I know she's C Way, but I see it as Crip walking. You know what I'm saying? Crip Way. That's what I say because she's always out for blood. You understand? Oh, did you get that? Because she's always out. Did you get that? Did it go over your head? All right, cool. But you know what? She's always out for blood. You know what I'm saying? In a positive way. You know what I'm saying? She's a sharpshooter. You know, keeps it fresh, keeps it funky. You know what I'm saying? And never minces her words. And I appreciate her for that. You know what I'm saying? Plus, you know what I'm saying? She's a fighter. She's come from a place to even be here. You know what I'm saying? She'll tell you her own journey. But I appreciate her for coming out tonight. So, Seaway, welcome to the stage, baby.
Hi everyone. Thank you, Kojo.
Come on.
I love the intro.
Never a problem.
I'm from the west side of Chicago, so I don't know if we're Crips over here, but I'll take it.
No worries at all. We are not gang affiliated here, guys. Okay, apart from Mineral Gang, all right.
That's my law license, so no gang affiliation.
Yeah. The only M you catching is verbally. Okay, guys, all right. We murder people verbally. Okay, no, we're friends. Appreciate you. All right, cool. My next person to the stage, I'm gonna say is, oh, Britannia rules the world. Yes, because you see this person here, she rules the world, okay? She conquers, she takes over, she builds empires, okay, with the words that she says. And I appreciate her for being such a giant on the stage. I want you to welcome to the stage, Brittany. What are you saying, girl? What you singing, girl? Oh, we can't hear you, girl. You're on mute.
Hey.
Hey. How you doing, girl?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm fine, baby.
Good. Glad to see you, Seaway.
Thank you for being back.
It's good to see you. Good to see you. Appreciate you, Britannia. Appreciate
Thank
you. You know your nickname is now Britannia. That's Empire.
Yeah,
right there,
you ain't see me say no to that?
I didn't see you say no to that. I'm sorry.
No. But all right.
We'll have to work on that, right? All right,
yeah,
cool.
we'll work on that.
We'll work on it. We'll get you another nickname. Okay, we'll get you another. Don't worry. I thought Britannia was okay, but we'll work on it. You know what
Usually people call me Bree. So
Brit. They call you Brit.
Bree. Yeah.
What's fancy about Bree though? We need something.
I don't know, Kojo. You know
spicy.
what? Go ahead. You can keep your name for me. That's fine. We'll keep it special.
Don't worry. We'll think of a name together for this nickname we get you. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Appreciate you, love. Appreciate you. All right. I'm gonna bring up the next person to the stage. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Yeah. I actually haven't got a nickname for her yet. Okay, but you know, I love her approach. Okay, you know, she's very concise. You know, she makes sure that she also as well tries to see both sides of the tale. I like that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I should call her heads and tails. I don't know. No, maybe not. Let me stop these nicknames. Okay, these nicknames ain't banging. But you know, I love the fact that she always tries to see both sides. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't just go straight to one side. You know, some of us, you know, i.e. straight shooters like Sean and Ray, choose a side and go down there straight away. But you know, this person here tends to try and give both perspectives. She's a mediator of sorts. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate her for that. You know what I'm saying? Bringing that balance to the conversation. Welcome to the stage, Chris Natha, baby. What you singing, girl?
Hello, family. Hi, everybody. Thank you, Kojo. What an awesome intro. Thank you.
No, it's all right, man. It's all right. You know, we're going to have to work on nicknames here, but no worries at all. I got you. Okay?
Thank you.
No worries, sis. No worries. Love the spectacles. All right, cool. My next person I'm going to bring to the stage. Listen, this person packs a punch. Literally packs a punch. This is why we call this person Sugar Ray, because her hands are sweet but they sting. You understand? The words, okay, flow like water. Okay, I don't know what I was going to say after that. It was going somewhere, but I don't know where I was going with it. You know what I mean? It was going somewhere, but I didn't know where I was going with it. But let me just introduce to the stage Sugar Ray, baby. What you saying, girl? Sugar in the tea, baby.
You are cracking me up today. Heads or tails?
You know, I couldn't think of some names.
And then you ran out of stuff for me. No, I'm joking.
I did. I ran out. I wasn't sure how to flex it after that. I got to the water part and I said, where do I go with this? You know when you go down a lane, you're like, I don't know what to say next. I kind of box myself in. So.
Oh, it's good to see everyone. Seaway, it's great to see you. I'm glad you're well, Britt and Chris. I love you guys.
Yeah, appreciate you, sis. Appreciate you. Thank you, Sugar Ray. Good seeing you as always. Yeah, and I'm going to introduce my last guest to the stage. Listen, you know this brother. Okay, you know this brother causes controversy. Okay, splits the seas like Moses when it comes to the audience. You know what I'm saying? He always packs a punch, a heavy hitter. You know what I'm saying? My Mike Tyson of my stage. You know what I'm saying? You love him or you hate him like Marmite. You know what I'm saying? Oh damn, my headphones come out my ear. But don't worry about that. Listen, as I'm introducing him to the stage, you already know who it is. The OG. You know what I'm saying? The original gangster, baby. Welcome to the stage, Sean, baby. What you saying, boy?
What's going on, good people? So glad to be here. Another good night. And oh man, so glad to have Seaway back, my in-house counsel. I've been missing you. I've been missing you, Seaway, because me and Sugar Ray, we went toe for toe, round for round last week, and I'm just glad to have some balance in the house. So Chris, oh man, I need you. Britt, sometimes you can go either way with me, so we're gonna see what tonight brings. But glad to be here.
I love it, Sean. I love it, man. I love it, man. He always comes through. I love it, man. Split the seas like Moses. I appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. All right, cool. Let's get this conversation flowing, okay? You know what? I'm gonna start with your fan favorites. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. You can call them fan favorites, but let's start with Michaela and Zach because there wasn't much action. I don't think there was much that happened. I don't know. Was there much that happened? I'm not really sure. But I want to kind of get you guys' opinions. Because nothing hurricane has happened just as yet, but we did see the little trailers that looks like it's hurricane. We can't discuss that because that's later on. We don't know the context of that. But on this particular episode, we saw her obviously talk to the parents, and we saw him talk to her friends and I think her sisters even, and they kind of grilled them a little bit on his age and in terms of I can't remember I always forget what the actual question was about towards obviously his intentions towards Michaela, I think, and stuff like that, right? And he didn't sound too confident, and they didn't really buy his answers. So I want to kind of get your thoughts on Michaela and Zach, and what your thoughts were on their individual conversations with the parents and friends and sisters in tow. So I'm gonna start strong. I'm gonna go to the OG. I'm gonna let Mr. Sean kick us off. Set it right, sir. Set it right.
So you already said, you don't want us to get into the preview of next episode. So I'll leave that towards the tail end, but very telling. We saw some Hurricane K action. So, I hope all the ladies are ready and supportive of Zach and all his emotional outbursts because he ain't ready. So I'll say that they, again, seem to really have a good connection. One of the things, and listen, you know me, I'm a pessimist. I gotta dig deep and see, I gotta get into the layers of it. So the thing that puzzled me a little bit, there was two things. One, when it came to Zach, he was outpouring all of his emotions on the table the day of the wedding, talking about how he was bullied as a child in school, and that's led to some feelings of inadequacy, based on his skin tone and him going to, a predominantly white private school that he went to. I just felt like for me that was a little bit too much, too soon, too quick, right? We're just getting to each other, and again, this just harkens back to what we saw early on of that emotional intelligence. You want to layer those things in there. You want to give her a chance to get to know you before you put all your vulnerability out on the table. Get to know her, see if you can trust her, right? And then her response was, as soon as she said, he talked about his insecurities, what does Michaela go to? Oh, are you're a fine piece of chocolate. That, again, I don't think she could have had worse responses, but really it's not dealing with the subject matter we're talking about, right? This guy is pouring his heart to you, and all she's doing is lusting, right? You could see her lips were just wet. She was ready to go. And again, in the context, as his wife, so you want to have those feelings, but always in their right time? And is she going to be emotionally intelligent enough to deal with him and the issues that he brings to the table, and then them two together? So I got my eye on those two. I really am questioning it, and that preview just let me know we got a lot to be concerned about with Michaela and Zach.
Sean, so I say, OG, you know what? That was a good start. You know what I mean? I want you to just kind of answer a question for me. Because you kind of touched it, and actually I picked it up, and I don't want to call it a red flag. I'd rather call it something that maybe something for him to learn. Right? The sharing of information that he did, like, it was a very heavy story quite early on. What is the issue behind sharing such deep things early on? Like, is that a problem? Or, I mean, what are the consequences of doing that?
Well, especially when you're just getting to know somebody, you need to be cautious of it. Are they a true safe space, right? What kind of impression? You only get one chance to make that first impression. So what impression are you giving them in the very early stages of your conversation, that you are leading with all of these, for an outsider that doesn't know, somewhat negative things about yourself, and revealing insecurities, right? So you're putting your insecurities out on the table. And if you are dealing with somebody who might potentially prey on those insecurities, you've now showed your hand, right? For anybody that plays poker or cards, you don't want to reveal your hand. So he just laid all his cards out on the table, from my perspective, and just revealed too much too soon, and he didn't let the game play out.
I like that. Okay, fair enough. I hear that loud and clear. All right, let me go to All Britannia. Britannia rules the world. Brittany, can you can you give us your take on Zach? Yeah, I want to deal with Zach specifically first, and we'll
Okay.
go to Michaela after. What was your kind of thoughts? Was it too deep, too early?
I feel like it was a little too much too early. I mean, you can tell stories about yourself without going too deep. There's bits and pieces you can give without being so open. Because again, like Sean said, that safe space situation, you don't know. And from my experience, I feel like you give too much too soon. You give someone the chance to take advantage of you if you don't know them like that. I'm not saying everybody is like that, but it is a strong possibility that it can happen. He doesn't know Michaela from a slice of bread, and she don't know him. So, my whole thing is just being careful about how much information you give. It's not that you can't say you've been through something, but it's about how you say it and how much of it you tell. And also with Zach, his stories are given a lot of like insecurity, which was what I was going off of from the very beginning when they were first introducing him to the show. And he was talking about how he's not sure if she's going to like him, or if she's going to be okay with what he looks like. In my mind, I was like, that's a red flag for me. Because usually people like that want a lot of validation. And I've been through that with somebody before, and I cut them off after a week. It was just too much for me. I can't do that. I mean, I can give you validation. I don't have a problem with it, but I need to know that you are secure with yourself and how you look and who you are first. Because I've been through that. I had to do that work on my own too. Like I'm sure everybody has to do that work. But, going into a marriage like that, you need to be secure within yourself with how you look, and just basically just accepting who you are, period. Because I feel like he might try to mold himself to be what Michaela wants and needs, instead of being who he is and maybe tweaking some things about himself to compromise, but not necessarily fully changing himself. So that's how I feel about Zach. It's just a lot of insecurity for me there. I'm not gonna say that that's what it is, but we'll see how things go along, and play out. But for right now, that's what I'm getting, and that's confirming a lot of the whole topic of insecurity for me.
Totally hear that. Thank you very much, Brittany. Appreciate it. Let me just ask you a question as well. In terms of you spoke about, obviously you had dealt with obviously someone needing that validation and them releasing their insecurities. I mean, what was the difficulty behind having to support that person then?
Well, we were just getting to know each other at the time, and it kind of came on too quickly because he complimented me at first. I said thank you and, everything like that. And then he expected something back from me, but it was the way he prompted it. And it just kind of gave me a feeling that, he's possibly going to be looking for this a lot. And he kept doing it. Now, I gave it a chance to see how things would go, but he just kept asking me, well, what do you think about me after he gives me a compliment? And I'm not saying that but my thing is he wasn't giving me a chance to give him a compliment either. But, for you to automatically just ask, how do you look after you tell me how I look? I just felt it was like a little weird, and it was just the beginning. And it was, it was just a little bit, I don't want to say too much, but it was just, it just showed me a bit of a red flag there because he was looking for something. He was looking for something too soon that I'm not sure that I could necessarily give him in the way he wants it. Because I'm very much someone who likes to affirm people or my significant other. I love doing that. That's something that comes naturally for me. But when it's asked of me a lot, some red flags may come up for me. And I'm always willing to help and dig deep and wonder why, but we were just getting to know each other. So there was no reason for me to really go there with him because he was already giving me some other red flags as well. So I kind of knew it wasn't going to go anywhere from me. But he was a nice guy.
Cool. I hear you. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Brittany. Let me go to our mediator. Get our mediator involved. Chris Natha, talk to us, sis. What was your thoughts on Zack? Was it too much too soon? Was it not a bother for you? What was your thoughts on Zack, in this episode?
I definitely think it was a lot. Similar to what Brittany shared, I have met men before who have done that. And it's a lot to put on someone at the beginning because I feel like, what should I do with this? Because I feel like, I don't know if it's just a sense of responsibility or what do I do with this? I do appreciate him being open. I just think that he started off really well. But then he kept talking. For instance, when he said something along the lines of, in high school, I was finding myself, but it wasn't until college where I came into my own. That should have been a period. That's not too much. That's just enough. But then when it kind of kept going, I think over time, with layers, with trust, as you begin to get to know each other, you can start peeling those layers back. But that comes with trust. People have to earn that. And because I know and I know that they're married, but there still has to be a level of it to be shared over time because then there'll be trust. You know what I mean? So that's just my thought on it, that there should be something shared over time. However, I do remember his parents did say that he's a all in or all out kind of person. So maybe he just gives you everything at one time and you have to kind of work and sift through everything to see, what do I do with this? Where do I place it? How does this apply in different situations? So that might be where that's coming from as well. But yeah, you definitely want to do things over time because now this person has a little bit of a rapport with you. They can understand you a little bit better. And we don't want Michaela. We want to believe that she's going to be an awesome wife and she's not going to use any of this stuff as a weapon. And one thing about Michaela, she's a sharer too. So I don't want her to, I would hate for him to share something so personal and her to get mad, or just speaking to her sister, she go ahead and just start talking, right? Because it seems like she's open to that, right? Just sharing information. So I just think with time, it has to definitely be gradual because you don't want to come off as emotionally unstable, or like Brittany said, needing so much comfort. And like I said, I know he was just sharing, but you want to make sure that you're doing that in a space where you're safe and you'll be handled with care. So.
Totally hear that. I want you to kind of touch a little bit more on, in terms of when you meant about being used against him. What did you kind of mean by that? That it could be used against him in a sense.
Absolutely. So I'll use myself as an example. I remember dating someone once where I did a Zack. I pulled a Zack, right? I shared too much too soon. And I learned very quickly that that was in a safe space. And so when we got into an argument about, or misunderstanding rather, about something else, he said, well, you know what, this makes sense because based on your past of what you shared, this is why you're acting this way. And I felt like he was slapping me in the face because I'm like, I trusted you with this. What are you talking about? These are separate. But he started analyzing me and letting me know that I have issues and this is why, because I said this on this day at that time. And so I felt, I don't know, I just felt like he really flipped the script on me. So there was nothing that I could do outside of what I shared because the mindset was already created that I'm this way and everything stems on this particular thing that she shared. So that was it. There was no winning in that situation. And I felt like that wasn't fair because in his mind, there was no room for me to evolve, no room for me to grow, no room for me to feel differently because he had his mind made up. And so I learned in that scenario that you have to share gradually and it has to be safe. So I feel that way with Zack. That Michaela could be mad tomorrow and be like, well, it ain't my problem. You had issues because, you know, in college they picked on you. And so that's why you're extra sensitive or whatever the case is. And some of that may be true, but it's not used as a weapon. It's somebody letting their guard down and sharing their heart with you. And so you want to make sure you are a safe space for people to share their heart with you.
Good points. Good points. Really love that. Thank you for sharing that, Christoph, as well. Appreciate it. All right. Sugar Ray, I need you to jump in for me, okay? I want to get your viewpoints on Zack, man. You know, what's Zack? Is Zack doing too much? I mean, that comment about being all in or nothing, you know, is that healthy?
Well, you're talking to somebody who comes from the streets, so I'm an all in or not kind of girl. Right? So either you in or you out. Either you on the corner or you not. Either you on the toilet or you get off, right? That's the mindset that I come from. We from the streets. So either you in 1,000% or you not. So me personally, see, this is the thing. It doesn't matter how long you take to share with someone. If the person with whom you're sharing is the type of person that will use it against you, it doesn't matter if you share early or if you share late, right? How lucky, how blessed would we be if we could get into a relationship and be able from day one. Now, mind you, remember, this is a wedding. This is married at first sight. So I'm thinking these people are going in with a sense of trust already because they're thinking in their brains that the experts have set us up, right? So they're thinking already this is a potential safe space. So let's lay that there for a second. So going in, I would prefer that the man, me personally, because of my experiences and my biases and my perspectives, I would be all in to a limit. However, that's just me. If my partner came into the relationship and was very expressive and very open as Zack was, I wouldn't necessarily have to think to myself, well, what do I do with this? How do I handle this? What is responsibility? I would just create a safe space for him to just simply be, to simply talk, and to simply express. So if we're lucky enough, if we're blessed enough to get into a relationship where we're able to do that from day one and it not be used against us, and the person is able to create a safe space and to listen from day one, why not? I say go for it. And again, you know, maybe I have a soft spot for Zack because, you know, Sean was going in on Homeboy from day one. So maybe that's why you'd have a soft spot. But again, I would not have an issue with a guy who just like out all his emotions with me from day one.
So question, Sugar Ray, on your first date, you're at dinner, chowing some sexy food down. You know, the fork is hitting the plate. You know what I'm saying? All right, it's tasting good. And then you hear your man say what Zach said to you.
I would have no problem with it. None whatsoever. None.
See,
what did he talk about? He talked about being bullied. He talked about colorism. He talked about coming into his own. He talked about a lot of things. I would be open. My heart would be open. I would receive it. And I would receive it with a non-judgmental space. And I would allow him to express himself. I know you don't believe me, Kojo, but it's true.
No. I actually believe you. I think I actually genuinely believe you, because I think some people are really cool. Like, I don't mind people sharing deep stuff, but I started to realize that people are very comfortable sharing their stuff with me, but I just think to myself, you don't know this world, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, even if I make you comfortable, I think you just got to know that in a setting where I'm trying to date you, that might not be the story you want to tell me straight from the bat. You know what I'm saying? I want to feel you. I want to know you. You know what I'm saying? I want you to spice yourself up.
But why not? He's talking about being bullied. He's talking about colorism. He's talking about, I'm not saying they're basic topics, but these are everyday topics that people go through. It wasn't like he was talking about something where, he was talking about, I don't want to get too, rated R, but, something, sexual that, you know what I mean? Like, he was talking about bullying, which everyone talks about, and colorism, which everyone talks about, and stepping to his own. I don't think anything about his discussion or what he was sharing was so far-fetched or so heavy or so emotionally charged.
I feel you. I think it's because I've seen him cry a few times before this. That's probably why it's changing my perspective. So
yeah, I think it's the same thing with Sean. Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I can rock with that. You know what I'm saying? I hear what you're saying. All right, appreciate it, Sugar Ray. Thank you for that. Good clearing up. I appreciate that. Thank you for your personal experience as well. We appreciate it. Wiz, we want to get your viewpoint, okay? You know what I'm saying? What's your... I already know she tired. She put her hand... She said, child. Wait, what's your thoughts on Zach and the situation? He spoke about, obviously, all his insecurities, everything like that at the dinner table. Vibe for you, not a vibe for you? What was your thoughts? Yes, no? What are you thinking?
Okay, so I'm glad I went last, because I think everyone kind of made a good point in what they said. I do agree with Ray. I don't think what he said in particular was all that bad in the context of what people kind of share. But what I will say is this situation kind of reminded me of the Miles and Karen situation. And I wanted to bring it up because I think in the Miles and Karen situation, you may have some women who may be like Ray, who are willing, who will receive you in open arms. There may be other women who are more like Karen, who are a little bit more standoffish. They'll still love you, but they got to warm up to you. And when you say certain things, you may push people in a direction that may be premature. And I was reminded of when Miles told Karen that he suffered from depression really early on. I do think he should have shared that, but I think in the beginning, I think that sharing kind of altered their relationship for a good period of time. Did they bounce back? Yes. Do I know when would be a perfect time to share that? Not sure, because you don't want to hide, stuff that you're dealing with, but I do think it's a time and the place. And I agree with Kojo that when you share things that are serious, right? Let's take away the people who throw it back in your face. Those are just not good people. And I agree, if they're going to do that, they're going to do that at any point in time. But when you share things that are very serious, which I don't believe what Zach shared was serious, too early on, when people don't have context on you, they don't have a big picture on you. I do think sometimes when you share too early, you may be tilting the scale on their overall perception that may not be an accurate perception of you. I'm an undersharer. I know there's people who are oversharers. There's lots of different type of people in this world, but as an undersharer, I kind of look at oversharers and I see kind of the detriment to saying too much too early. And I have seen people be judged maybe disproportionately based on what they said just because they're trying to be free. So I think it's a gamble. I don't think there's a right or wrong. You know, you may share it all and be open and you get a good response and it works out. But if you're a cautious person, and you want to kind of just lay the foundation, I would say just ease on a little bit. But I think what Zach said wasn't that bad. I do think some of the crying and stuff that we've seen in the background that Michaela actually has not seen kind of changes maybe what people may be thinking. But I do think this particular thing that he shared in this moment wasn't that bad. But I do say be careful about what you share, because people may be subconsciously judging you, even not even the forefront of their mind, but they may be judging you and they don't even realize it when you share stuff too early. So it's on both sides, male and female. So just something you want to be careful about in general, I think.
Yeah. I love that. I love that point. I do actually agree with both points and sides, actually, because I think if you get the right person, you're gonna be good. You know what I'm saying? Like, if someone shared it with me, it's not going to affect me as such. But what I would say is, I'm looking at the way you're going to speak about the subject, because, like I said, you sharing that, it could highlight the fact that there may be some insecurities there, you know, and that is going to alter how I'm going to handle situations going forward, right? I think, you know, I think the only situations that it's the very beginning. I'm just thinking to myself, was there no any other conversation we could have had? No, seriously. Look, I'm a deep person too, but was there no other conversation? We can't have no other lighter conversation. I can't get to know you, but you want to go straight into the depth. And I guess I'm taking in the crying. I'm taking everything. I'm just seeing, and I think I'm just seeing someone just kind of releasing everything, almost like he wants to release everything onto Michaela so early. And I'm scared. I'm like, because he's all or nothing, and I see it coming in. It's gonna come all at once in the beginning. And I feel like it's gonna be a lot and heavy emotionally, and I don't know if Michaela's going to be able to take that all on at once. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's difficult to do that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and maybe again, I think I'm agreeing with Seaway. Maybe I'm a bit of an undersharer. I'm used to people kind of oversharing, but I'm used to people oversharing in a capacity of not my girlfriend. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so I guess maybe that's part of me. But Sean wants to add again, and I think someone else probably will add after. Sean, you want to add? OG, you want to go?
Sure. So, to further add to what Ray and Seaway and everyone was saying, and we all adults here, right? So we all real grown. So this is the way my mind thinks, and I might be the exception, but it's my wedding day. I'm trying to fast forward to that wedding night, and I don't want to jeopardize nothing that's not going to have that wedding night right. If you hear what I'm saying? And revealing too much vulnerability, this, that, and the third, might just make things not ideal. So that's what I kind of wanted to end with.
I hear you. Brittany, you want to add?
All right. Nice, Sean. No, but I was just gonna add that to Seaway's point, which is about you don't know how someone may judge you, right? Because you're giving too much. And on top of that, sometimes some people don't know how to handle that much emotional information, right? Like she said, I don't think like the topics he talked about were deep and heavy, but you can see that it's a possibility he may be one of those people who like to emotionally dump because he hasn't had anyone to do that with, right? So when you're not used to, I guess, being in a intimate setting with someone, sharing a romantic connection with someone, you don't necessarily know how to filter or censor yourself. And I'm not saying censor yourself to a point where you're lying or you're leaving things out, but there's a way to tell a story without giving all of the pieces, right? And also, I know I'm an oversharer sometimes. So I do know sometimes I need to dial it back just a little bit. That's why I said I like to get to know the person. Well, I said in the chat, I like to get to know the person before I start to like give too much. I want to hear what they have to say, where they're going, and I'll listen first. and then I'll kind of ease some things in depending on where the conversation leads itself. But I don't want to just like offer up information if I don't know somebody. Yeah, everybody's saying they're married, but this is a different situation. They don't know each other from Adam. Like, you just going to just give it all to somebody? And the thing is, you really don't know how somebody is going to handle so much of your issues, so to speak. Not to say that they can't, but can they handle taking that on? Like Karen, for example. Like Seaway said, Karen, it just seemed like it was a lot for her to take on Miles's issue with depression. I feel like she was just scared because she probably didn't know how to handle it. But that's not to say that she won't be supportive of them. But when you put somebody in a new situation and they don't know how to deal with a certain subject, you know, it can become overwhelming for them. I've been there. Some people, it's just too much and it causes anxiety for them. So, yeah, I feel like, you know, you just got to kind of watch the other party and see how they handle what it is you have to say. And then you guys can kind of move forward on where the conversation and the topics kind of go.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much, Brittany. Good point added there as well. I definitely hear you. Definitely hear you. I think everyone's made good points. And I like I said, I think everyone's made different points. We've agreed to disagree a little bit, but I think different points are really good. And I appreciate that as well. So, you know, yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah, I won't say any much. What we'll talk about obviously now is a bit Michaela as well. We'll get that involved. Before I get there, guys, just don't forget as well, like, share, subscribe to the channel. As well, stay hydrated, and we've also got a little poll thing, so I'm now just adding a little poll. So if you guys want to involve yourself, I see some of you have already joined it in. I've put the link in, I've pinned a comment as well, so you should be able to join the poll. The question we're asking is, did Zach overshare with Michaela? You can join that particular first poll. We'll do another one for Michaela in a second or two. All right, let's continue the conversation. So we're talking about Michaela now. I want to get your kind of thoughts on Michaela. She didn't necessarily do anything crazy, but I guess obviously I'm just starting to notice we're on the third episode, and obviously this is still the same wedding day. Don't get twisted. I love, you know, the flirting. I love, you know, a little sexual innuendos. But is it a little bit too much, too soon? Is it showing signs of, you know, quick bang and then fizzle out kind of energy? Or were you comfortable with that? Was this something that you are cool with? You don't see anything particular wrong with it. What was your thoughts on Michaela? I'm gonna go to our mediator first, Chris Natha. If you could start us off, what was your thoughts on Michaela and her behavior today?
Well, I like Michaela in terms of, I don't like all the things she may potentially do down the line, but I like the fact that she comes off fun, you know, always smiling. I love that energy. You know, she seemed really excited at the wedding. But y'all, don't get it twisted. Michaela is ready to have sex. Like, can we say that? But she is, listen, she's like, this is my man. He's chocolate. He's gorgeous. I was trying to count how many times she said gorgeous, but that I'm glad that they are physically attracted to each other. But it was very clear. Sis is trying to get to the room. Okay. So whether or not it was too much, I like the flirting. It could have been a little bit too much. Well, who am I to say, right? That's her husband. But it was a lot. But I could be like Michaela in a sense. When I really like somebody, I flirt. I say all the cute stuff, let him know that I like him. However, I mean, she even was like, I think it was to the family or something. Like, I was like, okay, sis, they're not like your homeboy or homegirl. It was just a lot, you know, where it was like, oh my God, well, thank God, you know. And I was like, calm down. You don't have to share it. It's all good, girl. Just when you get to the room, handle your business. Okay. So yeah, she was really forward about how she felt. I'm glad that she is not afraid to be herself. But yeah, it was a lot, but I don't want to say it was too much per se, but I wouldn't have said so much like around his family or, you know, anything like that. You know, I'd have been pretty cool about it, and I would have probably said more in private. That's just me. I would have, you know, kissed him, sure, but I would have said a lot more when it was just him and I. But yeah, Michaela's ready to have sex. So so I guess it was just getting them both ready for what was coming, because I mean, clearly we could have seen that from the wedding day. So yeah. So was it too
Totally
much?
hear you.
I'm not sure. I'm
That's
not
not
sure.
that
It was
true.
a lot, and I don't think we're used to seeing that usually on the show. We may have seen that once or twice before, but usually not so much. Being that this is someone you just met, once again, they are married. So whether they're a stranger or not, you want to sleep with your spouse, that is your business. Okay. But yeah, I just think it was a lot in terms of like everybody else. Because we know that some things happened a few weeks prior to this. So that makes this scenario a little bit more interesting. And like you said, Kojo, I don't know if it's the thrill of it all and then it gets boring, or it's like, okay, next thing, I'm over it. Right. So I don't know if it's just about, I just want to have this great time, because her personality is a big personality. So we will see as time go on, but nothing wrong with her flirting and wanting her husband. It's her husband. And if she was horny, that's her prerogative. Sorry if rated R, sorry. Okay,
Yeah, you're
turning
good.
my mic off.
You're good. Thank you very much, Chris Nathan. You're good. Don't worry. You can say this was on here. Where it's past after dark here. All right, cool. Let me appreciate it. Let me get Seaway in. Sorry if I've missed anybody. I haven't checked the chat, so I don't know. But let me get Seaway in. What's your thoughts on Michaela? Too sexual, not too sexual for you? What's your thoughts behind the behavior? Let us know your thoughts, Seaway.
This is what I'll say. I personally really enjoyed seeing Michaela on the screen. She was far more extra than me. And a part of that was the reason why I liked it, because I was like living through her. I would never be so extra and a little bit hypersexual or anything like that. That's just not my personality. But I kind of thought it was good for TV. She looked like she was having fun. She looked like she was enjoying her day. And compared to people like Merla and other people, it was just nice to see somebody enjoying their wedding day. So I wasn't bothered by it. I wasn't bothered. Actually, every time she called him gorgeous, I thought it was hilarious. I just kept on laughing. I just thought it was so funny. What I will say, though, is that when people have kind of over the top personalities, like if you look at like comedians and things like that, there's normally a dark side to them. Like people who are really like flamboyant, over the top, and life of the party. And I'm trying not to judge by the previews, but usually those type of people have a completely opposite side that can be not so fun. So, I mean, from what I've seen, I enjoyed her energy. I thought her energy was really fun to watch. She looked like she enjoyed her wedding, as everyone should enjoy their wedding. I hope she doesn't move too soon with trying to push Zack far in the too soon in the bedroom, maybe, because I think that may backfire because he's so emotional. She seems like less attached. She seems to have less emotional attachment to sexual behavior from what I can see so far. He seems like he probably would have more emotional attachment to sexual behavior, which is usually flipped, right? How we normally see it. And so I can possibly see if she pushes it too far too soon with him and he just goes along with it, that may also backfire. But who knows? That's why we're watching, right? So we don't know. But so far, I don't have a problem with it. She looks like she enjoyed her life. People need to enjoy their life. So she looks like she had fun.
Thank you very much, Seaway. Appreciate that. I hear that as well. Good summary there. Yeah, I love the comment about the dark side. Can we just touch on that a little bit more in terms of the dark side? What did you? I want just so that people understand fully what you mean by that.
I'm thinking like how I'm forgetting the name, but the guy who played the Joker, who ended up.
Oh, Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
Heath Ledger.
No, is that who? Yeah. Okay. Like people with those personalities that can like really stretch themselves and be, over the top and know how to be expressive and things like that. Or even like comedians. You see a lot of comedians who really suffer from depression and different issues. And it's because a lot of that, their expressive side is hiding and suppressing a lot of the other stuff that they're going through. Because at first, when they kept on saying Hurricane K, I really didn't see it. I thought they were being kind of like dramatic, to be honest. I'm like, this girl she doesn't seem like a hurricane. She just seems like a free-spirited person. That is kind of like what I got from her. I'm like, I'm actually happy to see this version of a Black woman on the screen, because I think a lot of the Black women that we've had on the screen didn't really represent. We didn't have a personality like Michaela before, and I think there's a lot of Black women who, like, again, the hurricane part aside, who do have that bubbly, not closed off personality. So far, we've had a lot of personalities with the Black women that need to be broken down, and the shells need to be cracked, and that's like the theme every year. Like, we have the shell that the man that we're dating has to break down, the shell of all the men that's come before and ruined us, and like the Karen, or you know what I'm saying? So to see just a free-spirited person who doesn't have a shell that needs to be cracked, and she's enjoying life like the white women on the show enjoy their life, I was just like, that's great. I was happy to see it. I'm tired of the shell breaking story. I know it's a reality, but it's just like, we've seen it time and time again. There's a lot of like live, love, laugh type people who are not going through life trying to get rid of the hurt that someone has inflicted on them. So, but I do think, again, the darkness comes where there's like a whole lot of light. A lot of times that light is shielding internal issues, darkness, struggle. I don't know if that's the case here. We saw the clip to come. Who knows what triggered that situation? But from what I saw thus far, I enjoyed her energy, and it was really nice to see on the screen. So,
Hear you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Appreciate good points, now. Thank you for the explanation as well. Let me get Sugar Ray in. Let me get you in here. I think someone's made a really good comment. I would actually even like to use that as a way to kind of ask the question: what does hypersexuality and dramatic shift in moods say? Because obviously we're going to see Hurricane K. So I guess what they're kind of saying is, maybe not the hypersexuality, but maybe in the sense of the fact that, the high sex drive combined with the high emotive energy. Is there something behind that? Like, is there a reason for that particular baby? Is there a link potentially even as well? I think maybe that's a question that we can ask. Maybe not. Maybe you don't think this.
I mean, but where is this hypersexuality coming from? It's like the whole thing about her having sex 2 weeks before her wedding. Like, how is that hypersexual? She wants to have sex with her man. Like, she's sexually aroused. Like, she's hot. Like, how is that hypersexuality? She's a Black woman who has hormones, who is feeling sexually attracted to her partner. So she's just stating and experiencing. I love what Seaway said, free-spirited, to be free, right? Our goal in life should be, well, who am I to tell you what your goal should be? But my goal in life is to be free, to be able to express myself, to be able to feel, to be able to speak and not be judged and censored and policed and limited by it. Yes. I want to go back to, I know we're finished with Zach, but I want to go back to Zach. How many of us, especially Black women, have been complaining about how tight Black men are, how closed Black men are, how Black men don't open up, how Black men are too non-emotional, how Black men are this and Black men are that. And here we have a guy like Zack who is willing to open up and to express himself and to say how he feels. And yet it's like, oh my God, how could he do that? Oh my God. Like, which is it? What do we really want? And it's the same for Michaela. Men want women who are happy. Men want women who are free-spirited. Men want women who want sex. And here we have a woman who wants sex, and somehow she's hypersexualized and she's dramatic. You see what I mean? Like, which is it, right? And I'll say this even further, and I'll put myself out there by saying this, and I'm sure a lot of people may not agree with this, but based on the little bit that I saw where she became Hurricane K, it was very triggering for me. It was very moving for me, but I had no problem with it. Because again, where I'm from, in the hood, in the streets, like I remember one time I was dating a drug dealer. Oh, can I say that?
Of course you can.
Okay. So I was dating a drug dealer. And what I loved about this drug dealer was he was like the head in the street. He was the head dude. Like, he was the main one. And he told it like it was. If he wasn't feeling it, he wasn't feeling it. If he wasn't happy, he wasn't closed. He told it like it was. And I think that saved his life in many, many ways. So I'll just say that where I'm from, it's best that you just say it, you speak it, you experience it, and you do it freely. Yes, because that could be a matter of life or death. So for me, Michaela, even what I saw in that little snippet at the end, I want her to express herself to her fullest. And I'm here all for it. And I'm here with a non-judgmental space. Not saying that you guys are, but I'm just here open, willing, and creating a space for her to be able to do that. Would I maybe do it? Maybe not. But this is how she expresses herself. And as a Black woman, go all out. I'm for it.
Would you say the same if you saw a Black man being held by one of the producers as he's trying to fight to get out the door to slam the door? Would you say that you would be okay saying, you know what, he's just trying to express himself?
A Black man?
Yeah.
Being held by a white producer?
No. Being held by another another Black male producer, whatever it is, doesn't really make a difference. And
this is where I have my limit.
Slam the door. Would you say that you'd be would you describe his behavior then and there as being expressive?
Yes. This is where my limit goes, Kojo. My limit, awesome. Like in the hood, is the moment a GUN comes out. You know what I'm saying? The KNIFE comes out. You know, is the moment it gets to a level of physical violence. I will also say this. People can be violent emotionally and verbally and mentally by what they say. However, if someone is, again, I don't know why she was upset. I don't know why this Black man would be upset. But if that person has a legitimate reason to be upset and they're being held back. Now, also, Kojo, you know how I feel about a lot of this production and editing stuff too.
Of course.
You know, who knows what they were saying behind the scenes to make this happen. But this is really real, and in real life, I have seen men in the streets hold back other men, and that dude just needed to scream, yell, express. Nothing became violent. And sometimes, you know, you want to be held back so that, you know, and then the person, you know, it's all part of the whole, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it's because I'm from the streets. I'm from the forest. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe, you know, I was raised with wolves. I don't know. Maybe it's just my perspective. But for me, as long as it's not violent and as long as you're not hurting someone, if you're upset and you want to express yourself in a loud, expressive manner, I'm okay with it.
Cool. I mean, as for me, not in my house, but I hear what you're saying. All right, cool. Thank you.
Exactly.
As always, Sugar Ray, you know, I appreciate it. Sweetness come true. I don't know. Britannia, have I asked you? I haven't asked you, have I? Fantastic. Brittany, if you could just add for me, what was your thoughts around Michaela? You know, too sexual, not too sexual? Like, what's your kind of thoughts? Was she saying too much? Was it an inappropriate time? Maybe, I don't know. What was your kind of thoughts on the situation?
With Michaela, I actually like her. But like all people, we have our other side, right? I will say though, at the altar, it was giving me a little too much. That's just me. I mean, even when I see that in real life, it's just a little too much. I get, you know, excitement could be in there and the hype of the moment, but sometimes, you know, you can dial it back just a little bit. But when I say dial it back, I mean some of the comments. It was just like, all right. She asked him if he wanted a baby at the altar, you know, and I was just like, ooh, okay. You know, I wouldn't say that, but that's probably her personality, so I'm not gonna come at her for that either. Now, when it comes to the sexual stuff, I can't really say if she's too sexual. I just feel like if she does have sex a lot, it could be because mixed in with the Hurricane K part, I feel like it might be because she's covering up some things. She may not have coping skills when it comes to her emotions. So she may use sex as an outlet. I mean, I don't know. I can't really say how she handles her emotions, but her sisters did mention that if she doesn't get her way, like it's my way or the highway kind of thing. and that's not how it works with anybody. So if she feels as though if things don't go her way and she starts to like gradually act out like that and get loud for no reason, like there's a way to handle yourself if you feel as though something is not going your way. But nothing in life ever goes our way all the time now, does it? So I feel like a lot of it may have to do with coping skills and, generally just dealing with her emotions. I don't know if she knows how to do that. And even looking back at when she mentioned her dad, she might have issues with her dad too, passing away. Just grief. I don't know if she's still grieving over her father. That could definitely be a main point to that. Because usually when people lose a parent, especially as much as she cared for her father like that, and that's I guess a void now within her, she might not know how to properly fill that. So yeah, I mean, I can't really say too much, but I mean, I feel like for Zack, in terms of her excitement, I don't think he really cared because they were both excited. So it works for them. I know for some men that might be a little bit too much, like it's just a little too hype for them. But everybody's different. So Zack seemed to like it. He was cool with it. I mean, that's because he got his own issues to deal with too. But he was happy. He was just as happy as she was when it comes to, getting married and stuff. He didn't seem to mind. So that's probably why she continued to go on. Because usually if somebody feels as though it's too much, some people don't say anything, but you can see it on their face. And I feel like if she saw that, she may have like brought it back a little bit. But because he was enjoying it, she was just like, forget it. I'll just be myself. That's probably just her, honestly. You can't be mad at that. So, yeah, I think it's a lot. The sex part might have to do with just the coping skills, the general emotional coping skills, and just understanding how to speak to somebody or talk about your issues instead of, going off, flying off the handle.
Thank you very much, Brittany. I appreciate it. Good points there as well. I appreciate it. Thank you again. Sean, OG?
Sure. So I think these are the things that are kind of like resonating with me. And it's not an isolated incident that we're seeing, it's the story and everything and how it plays out. Right. So when you look at Michaela's past, and if we think about the impulsivity of, some may agree, disagree, it's her right, it's her freedom, whatever. But she did have sex 2 weeks prior to the wedding, and she was very comfortable cutting that off, right? And she spoke very plainly about that, and that there's a level, again, we're generalizing, but for most women to be able to disconnect that quickly and then be ready to marry and invest in a full-blown marriage. We're not talking about dating somebody. You're getting into a full-blown marriage. With you having sex with somebody 2 weeks prior, you got to have a little bit of, of some level of impulsivity there on your part. Then you look at the preview that we're seeing about her, how that outburst that she has, and her family has called her Hurricane K. So we know she is prone to erratic outbursts of some sort where somebody's calling her a hurricane, right? So you put all that together, then she's like overly flirtatious. She's with the parents. And she's like, oh, just, your son is a fine man. Thank you for creating such a fine man. It's like, when do you know how to control yourself and be able to know what situation is appropriate for you to act in which way? Now, when you guys are alone in the bedroom, everything, there's no boundaries, right? But when you're out in the public and you're my wife, I want to know that you can control yourself if you're presented with a situation that could agitate you or push you. And the same for me, because I got to have emotional control. And that was the same smoke I was giving Zach, is that you have to be able to control yourself in situations, and that's going to impact how you handle and manage yourself in a relationship. Now, when you have two people who are emotionally, from what I see, immature or have a lack of control over the emotions, in different ways, but still that lack of control. How are those two people going to be able to successfully manage a marriage together? So I think that's what's the problem for me. That's what I'm seeing as some serious red flags for the future with those two if they don't get a hold on their emotional, their ability to control their emotions.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Thank you. Good points there, Sean. And you know what? I would even add to say, do you know what? When I asked the question about too sexual, actually, I don't think she was too sexual. I think she just needed to know how to rein it in. Okay, with him, not a problem, but when you're with parents, you don't know how they're gonna react and what image you're about to portray to the parents, right? If I'm looking at my partner making these jokes to my parent, I'm gonna be thinking to myself, God damn, like, don't you know when and where to make these kind of jokes, right? It's a bit sticky to kind of make that kind of joke, in the presence of parents. You don't know how they're gonna take it. They may be liberal and fantastic, it bangs, right? But you don't know that. And I think the awareness piece of that is the problem for me. Like, listen, like I told you, listen, I have a high sex drive. If you make them jokes with me, I'm gonna live it down. I'm gonna enjoy it, but not with my parents. Now you need to know that is not the place to come and do those jokes. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the same thing with me. I wouldn't make them jokes about you with your parents. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's really not the place to be kind of doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we understand, and this is not a black thing. This is in general, like, you know what I'm saying? This is not a black thing. I don't want to make it a black thing. Most parents will be like, that's a bit weird. Now, there are liberal parents. Let's get it there. There are liberal parents. But the majority of us are conservative in the aspect of not wanting you to know that Sean, just imagine your daughter, your I do not even go there. Imagine, you don't want to imagine that, bruv, because that's just, it's something that there should be a line that's drawn. You know what I'm saying? What happens in your marriage happens in your marriage. I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? My only thing is this: I do see a connection between her high energy, the emotional unrestraint, and the high sex drive and everything like that, the over energy, right? For me, what I'm seeing is somebody who's actually very similar to Zack, which is, I'm all or nothing. It's all in or bang. And that, for me, is where supernovas are created and big eruptions happen, right? Hurricane Kane being told to us was one thing, but seeing it, I guess, in the cutscenes, for me, is problematic. And I'll say that straight. It's problematic. You have to be able to have some level of self-control. There's not all behavior can we count as being expressive. I'm sorry. Okay, right? Not every behavior can be expressive. I love you, Ray, but not every behavior can be expressive. That is not one of them. If you now see, we saw this from other seasons before, right? We saw the same thing with Tyler. Was her name Tyler? Taylor was doing the same thing with, what's his name? What's that boy's name that was moving mad with her, man? And they were doing the same thing. They were moving mad with aggression, and she ran into the toilets when he was in the toilets, and it was a problem and everything. It was mad, yeah. The whole relationship was mad, yeah. Same thing. You know what I'm saying? We saw that same kind of level of aggression, and we called it out at the same time, right? So there are certain behaviors that are just not acceptable. You've got to be able to Brandon, thank you, control yourself. Right? Nobody's, and listen, the streets are the streets. We're not in the streets, we're in a marriage. Okay? We're not in the streets, we're in a marriage. Okay? Don't bring the streets into your marriage, please. If you are, I mean, maybe you're not a G unit and you're doing your marriage wedding, but for those of us who are normal, and you don't want to bring the streets into your marriage. You know what I'm saying? Like, we shouldn't have to get into a debate, into a heated place where I'm now nose to nose with you. Right? That's going to send a signal that something's going to happen at that point. You know what I'm saying? And if we are from the streets, we already know certain behaviors are going to lead to what? Imminent, violent behavior. So we can't do that behavior. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that she's bad. I'm saying that I think there is some issues there with her in terms of temperament and control on her, the way that she gets emotional and it comes out in a bang. She has to learn how to control that. You know what I mean? So that's something that she can work on. But go on, Ray. You wanna counter? Go for it.
Yeah, I want to counter because
So I dropped my ear.
I think it's simplified if you say, oh yeah, you can't bring your streets into the marriage. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying bring the ghetto into your marriage. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is coming from the ghetto in Jamaica, in Trenchtown, in East New York, in Brooklyn, coming from the ghetto, you see all kinds of energies. And all I'm saying is, let's just make sure that we don't police, judge, or limit her liberty and her freedom to express herself. Someone could look at you, Kojo, and be like, oh, look at that English-speaking YouTube creator, and then have all these judgments just based on who you are, because for them, it's too much. I have many people who won't date me just because I'm a singer. It's too much. Or because I'm 6 feet. It's too much. Or she's pretty. Oh, it's too much. You know what I'm saying? So, we have to allow people to be people. We have to meet people where they are.
Where does the line get drawn, Ray? Where does the line
There is
get
a limit.
drawn?
There is and that's like I said,
What's
limit,
the limit?
To me, the limit is, so for example, I don't know why Michaela was being held back by the producers. I don't know why. But if you put the story to it where she was feeling threatened, or she was wanting the door to be closed, she was wanting to not be filmed, and they wanted to keep filming her, let's say that was the scenario. I would have no problem with her behaving the way she was behaving, because maybe she needs to take it to that level for them to get out of her room. You see what I'm saying? It all depends on the situation. It's all relative. But like I said, anytime it gets to be verbally violent, physically violent, that's to me when there's an issue. But if someone is legitimately upset and they lose it in that moment, I get it. I understand. That's all I'm saying.
So I agree with you on the fact that there could be context and situation. So I'm not disputing that. What we're saying is we got told she's a hurricane already. Like if you get told that Kojo's super aggressive, I can guarantee you now, if I do this, you're gonna say that Kojo's been, whoa, that was a bit much. Now, streets or no streets, your reaction is gonna be completely different, because you already have prior information about how I am. If I'm super aggressive, or Kojo, when he comes in, he's got a temper. How you gonna deal with me is different. So that hurricane piece there sets a tone. So now any behavior that goes towards a hurricane piece, we're gonna look at it like, yo, you might need to just chill on this. You know what I'm saying? Right? And the thing is, we didn't see it more. We saw it more than once. We saw her blow up more than once in that cutscene. Now, by all means, it may have been a fair context. And when we get there, we'll get there, innit? So we're just making that point, and we have to make that point known. There could be a really good context in terms of why she's been that way. Yeah.
I have a big issue with Michaela, and my issue with Michaela is her lack of accountability. Now, if you want to talk about that, we could talk about that. That is a big issue. Her not taking responsibility for her behavior and expecting her husband to handle her and manage her. That's my issue with Michaela. But her just, that's her. But her not taking accountability for it and expecting her husband to manage it and to handle it, that's where I have the issue. But her, you may not call it expressing, but her releasing whatever she's releasing, I'm okay with that.
Okay, no, I hear that. No worries at all, man.
But I love you, Coach.
I hear you. That's how I'm going to talk from now. I'm like, yeah, you better talk, Ray. You better talk. I'm just expressing myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm checking. We from the streets. I appreciate you, Sugar Ray. No, I'm hearing what you're saying.
Because people say that about me all the time, Kojo. People will look at me and I won't even say a word, and they'll have so many judgments about me, and it bothers me, because it's like, you don't even know me. I might just be tall and speak too loud for you, or be tall and not speak enough, and I'm closed. It's just so many.
Would you label yourself hurricane though?
Well, you call me Sugar Ray. You say I punch fists, so.
I call you Sugar Ray because when you're saying your point, you hit hard. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
but not in terms of like you are, because a hurricane, we knew what she was saying when she was saying she's Hurricane K. They explained what the behavior was. They didn't leave it at that.
Right.
They said the behavior is when you get going, like you just leave, basically you leave a trail of destruction behind you, right? You know what I'm saying? So, and you don't care, and then you calm down and you realize that you've gone. That for me sends signals that you are the kind of person that sees red and goes out, and then after you're like, okay, I've calmed down. Right? Should someone have to deal with that? Like, is that even healthy?
Now that I agree with. Should someone have to deal with that? I agree with that, Kojo. So that's the personal choice that the person makes who will deal with Michaela. Okay, they will have to decide.
Zach didn't get that choice, to be honest.
Yeah, Zach didn't get that choice, right? But he'll get the choice at the end of whether he wants to stay or be divorced.
Good points. Love that. As always, Sugar Ray, appreciate you. Always throwing punches back. We love it. I don't know if anyone else wants to jump in about, because I didn't ask specifically the question about what we saw in the coming episodes. I don't know if anyone else wants to kind of add to discussion. I know myself, Ray, and Sean kind of took over a little bit, but does anyone else want to add? Anybody else want to add?
I just want to wait and see. I just want to wait and see. I think we don't know. You know, anything that could be anything. So, I think it's best that we just see what happened and why she was triggered to act that way, because sometimes you got to throw some plates and slam some doors when it comes to it. You know, it's not best behavior, it's not best practice, but this isn't best practice all the time. This is real life.
Sorry, wait. You're not gonna skip that. I need you to come back. You're gonna do what?
What? What I say?
No, girl. You know what you said, girl. Sometimes you need to do what?
Oh, I said throw some plates and slam.
What?
Doors.
Yo, Sean, this is.
Wait, what did she say? Grill some what?
Like, yo, no.
Wait, what did she say? Grill some what?
No. See, wait. You're doing too much Crip and Bloods.
You see?
I'm not saying I'm throwing plates. But what I'm saying is that I'm not going to just judge somebody off of a preview until I know why they're throwing plates. We can all sit up in here and act like we're so controlled all the time. We're so perfect. We don't do anything. We don't get mad. We don't slam. Ooh, Ray.
We almost lost Ray.
Yes, I'm like, I'm still agreeing with Steve.
Ray is throwing plates. That's what Ray's doing. She's throwing plates right now.
And I know Sean's gonna get me, but I'm just saying. We have to be real, because it's real easy for everyone to say we're so controlled all the time. Sometimes people be making you mad, and I'm not. Yes. At your best, highest level of frequency, with your best partner that brings out your highest level of frequency, you will be vibrating on a level where you will not act like that, because you guys are both bringing the best out of each other, and or you will walk away if you see somebody about to bring out the ugly in you before it happens. That is the ideal situation. But the reason why this show is on is because you're catching people and not always their ideal situation. And that may not be their best self. If anyone has done anything with groups and in experiments, things like that, people who have pledged, all these type of things, you will be able to say, hey, I've experienced particular people at their worst self, and they did stuff that they would never do outside of that particular experience.
Exactly.
And so that's why I'm saying I don't want to judge her on the preview until I know what happened. Now, for example, if it's Chris, we saw a pattern. Okay. Yeah. We saw a pattern. This was not on the experiment, with or without the cameras, that he was going to be acting a fool. We can figure that out. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to judge. I don't want to judge her just yet until I see. And so we can all act like we ain't did none of the stuff that we talking about. But I'm just saying, sometimes people, they get to a point where they feel like they need to express themselves more maybe than they probably should. So that's what I'm saying.
Brittany, you want to add?
Yes. Now, I've been sitting here quiet because I can't really say anything about her Hurricane K reaction until I get some context behind why she was acting that way. But to the point of, I guess, being in the hood and expressing yourself and not being controlled. Now, Ray, look, I'm from the hood too, sis. I get it. And I teach kids who deal with that stuff too. But it's like, there's a time and a place, number one. But at the same, and then again, You know, if you don't know how to control yourself emotionally, what other way are you going to react? Going back to my point about coping skills, she might not know how to just walk away. So she goes off, right? I've had that issue at one point before too as a kid. Like we've all had that problem, I'm sure. And our parents had to sit us down and talk to us and tell us that's not how you act. If you need to say something, you speak on it. And if somebody gets you to a point where they pull you out your character like that, you need to walk away. Period. End of story. Because somebody wanted me to drag them early last year and I had to walk away. So, no, and we ended that friendship. Well, I ended the friendship real quick because I didn't want to end it. But when you want to make me come to your house and drag you, then I know we don't need to be friends. That's just on period. I mean, even my significant other, I might need to walk away. Or we need to go to counseling and figure this out because you're saying things that are trying to trigger me purposely, right? And even if they don't say anything that's going to trigger you, you need to know that just because somebody says something you might necessarily not like, that does not warrant you to act that way. I tell my kids that all the time in class when I was teaching them. Like, there's a way to handle yourself. I'm not going to speak to you and I'm not going to acknowledge you if you act like that. So coming from the hood, because people act like that, it's because they don't always have an emotional outlet. You got to walk around with those heavy emotions on you all the time. But when you get out into the real world, nobody's going to care. You got to learn how to deal with your emotions. Period. End of story. Because it's not going to be accepted. I don't care what anybody says. People are going to turn their backs on you if they don't know you. And they're not going to want to deal with you. And you wonder why don't nobody want to be your friend or nobody wants to deal with you. Or they just don't say anything to you because you're not willing to receive it either. So I mean, we don't really know what's going on with them, but just based on the trailer and seeing it, you know, I don't know. I just feel like sometimes there's just certain situations where you don't need to be going off the handle like that. But it depends on who triggered you and how you got triggered. And you would only they would know, you know, how things got started in order for them to get to that point. So.
I thank you. I appreciate you. Oh man, you have made me laugh today, man. You know what I'm saying? People out here throwing plates, calling it artwork. So listen, you know, I hear that. You know what I'm saying? There's expressive pieces out here. People are in just high performance, okay? They're just in high performance, okay? But no, all jokes aside, no, I do hear what you guys are saying, and I see the comment section as well. They have their own views as well in terms of the actual situation in regards to Michaela. I want to make it very clear. This is, you know, like I said, it's a preview. We don't know what actually happens yet. We're making a judgment on what we see right now, but more than likely we'll probably end up changing that as the actual context of the thing happens. What I would say is the last thing before we move on is we don't have to see a pattern of behavior to call it a pattern. And here's why. She called herself Hurricane. That is the pattern. Okay, if you call yourself Hurricane, that is the pattern. Okay, so before once we see even once, we already know that is your normal behavior. So we're going to wait and see what the actual show reveals. What I would say is if you're throwing plates in your relationship, please, you're in a toxic relationship, okay? Man them, yeah? Don't let these girls throw plates at your head, okay? You know, all right? Don't let them do that to you, bro, okay? You're not a piece of meat, okay? All right? Get out of there. Appreciate you. No, all jokes aside, let's continue the conversation. But I appreciate everyone's thoughts. Thank you very much. Let's continue the conversation. So let's talk about another couple. Damn, we talked a lot about Michaela, bro. We really got everyone talking, innit? Let's talk about another couple, another explosive one. You know what I'm saying? The rest of them, I don't know. The rest of them is, you know what I'm saying? Gil and Myla. I don't know if I've even spelled her name right. I think it's with an R and I spelled it wrongly, but hey ho, I'll change it in a second. But Gil and Myla.
Marilla.
Thank you, because, you know, I kill people's names. Marilla. Yeah. Gil and Marilla. You know, they obviously going to have some issues in terms of finances and lifestyle, because that's what came up. So I want to know what everyone's thoughts are on that and how to handle such situations when that happens to you in a relationship, you know. So let me. The chat is going mad in it. Is jokes. The chat is too funny. I love it. Let me. Sean's in bits already. Let me get Brittany on the case. Brittany, talk to me, man. Gil and Myla, what's your thoughts on the situation between them two, man, and finances?
I'm laughing so hard at this conversation. They are on fire, and it's hilarious. Okay, Marla, what was the exact question?
Just about the fact that they have differences in terms of finances and lifestyle.
Okay. I feel like there can be, honestly, I like the two of them together. I feel as though there can be a balance with both of them. As long as they're willing to compromise on some things. I get on Marilyn's end about wanting to keep up her lifestyle. I would want to too, and I worked hard for it, absolutely. But once you get married, and I get what his friends were saying, but they were like coming at her too hard for me. I'm just like, I think she gets it. Like, I think she knows that she's high maintenance. You know, a lot of us are. That is okay. But when you have someone like Gil, they will balance you out. And I don't feel like she's a woman who wouldn't compromise, especially if she loves him, right? I feel like she's very realistic about how things are gonna go. You know, most relationships, from what I've seen, healthy ones, they have budgets. They have their own separate account for the things that they want to do with it. So if she wants to continue to buy her Gucci, Louis, Prada, she can buy that with the money she has with her personal account, right? But that's not touching the money that they have to keep up their lifestyle together and just making sure their bills are paid, right? Because what you don't want to do is change somebody, because you're not going to change them coming into a relationship. I don't care what it is. Now, it's almost the same for, I guess if you use the situation where a woman is trying to change a man, like, you can't change a woman either. She has her ways, but, you know, she can tone down on them a little bit for the sake of the marriage. I don't think that'll be a problem for her. Y'all just got to give her a chance to do it. We didn't get to a point where they actually have a conversation about it either. Now, if she isn't willing to, like, compromise with him about splurging sometimes, because that ever so often is going to turn into not so much all the time, depending on how they want to live, the type of home they want to get, if they want to have kids and everything. I mean, if you got it, go ahead and get it. But, you know, you got to be realistic about how your money is going to be spent once you guys end up getting married. Well, now that they are married, but, you know, how money is going to be spent. But I think we should give her a chance to see what happens. Yeah, she a little, I guess, uptight. Is prudish the right word to use to describe her a little bit? Because she says she's conservative. I get it. And I get the whole not kissing thing. I don't know you. I'm not kissing you yet either. But the finances, let's give them a chance to see where things go. I need to see when they actually have the conversation if she's going to give a little bit. Is she going to let up just a little bit? If not, then, you know, I'm going to have to agree with everybody else, because, you know, it's unfair if you're going to be in a marriage and when it comes down to finances, you can't be spending all your money on the labels and then your bills not getting paid, if that's going to be the case. So I feel like that's where everybody's minds are going. I don't think she's irresponsible, you know. I think there'll be a balance somewhere in there at some point as they get to know each other. But we'll see how things go.
I hear that. Definitely hear that. Thank you very much, Brittany. Thank you very much. Mediator, Chris Natha. What's your thoughts on Myla and Mila? Sorry, Mila, is it Mila? Mila and Gil. Like, you know, they got two different ideas when it comes to spending. It's not even like it's saver and spender. This is literally someone spends a certain amount and the other person doesn't necessarily spend that amount as well. You know, in a couple or in a marriage, is that important to have that unification on spending there, or like, what's your thoughts on that?
I think it's really important. And I think that this is one of the issues I have with the experts. Money is a huge deal. If it doesn't make her wrong and him right, to me, it just seems like their values don't align concerning finances. And that is important. If somebody has a certain lifestyle, even though she works, because I know some of the commentary was about the fact that she has her own job, so it doesn't matter. It matters to a degree because he have to uphold this lifestyle for her. If she's used to eating at a certain type of restaurant and it's him that's planning date night, he better come correct because it might be a problem, right? And so I think that that should have been considered a lot more in the actual matchmaking. But being that they're already married, they're gonna have to really talk about this. It doesn't seem like Mirla is willing to budge, though. It doesn't seem that way. I don't think she should completely deprive herself of all the things that she does for herself, because I wouldn't be happy if someone asked me to do that either. However, because I'm coming into a marriage, I have to have the understanding that there are going to be things about my life that's going to change. There's going to be things about his life that are going to change. So if I come in here, just rock solid about like, this is how I feel, and no matter what you say, it's never going to adjust at all. That's not the way that you want to enter a relationship. It doesn't mean that you compromise and he doesn't. It means, how can we make this work for the both of us? So hopefully we see them talking about finances in a real way. Like, how much you get paid? Like, what is, like, where's the bracket? Where's the tax bracket? Like, how different are we there? And how will this play out in the relationship? But this should have been considered a lot during the matchmaking process. And I just want to throw this in there. Gil said the word lips a lot. Now, every time a man has said the word lips to me, he's wanted to make out. So I'm just saying, you may not want to make out on camera. I get it. Just give the man a little something. Give him something. That's all I'm saying. Just something. Because this man was thirsty for some type of affection. And she was like, no, sir, not happening. So, yeah. But I definitely feel like the finances, in terms of the finances, that was the matchmaking should have been done better in that regard. And I don't know if this was production. Well, it probably is. That his friends, I believe, was asking her certain questions. I felt like that was too much. My opinion. Don't ask me about my money. I'm not married to you. Those are just my thoughts. Don't ask me about how I live my lifestyle. The fact that his friends were telling her, you have to change your lifestyle, I feel like that was a little bit fed to them because they don't know her yet. So for them to say you have to change, they didn't say tell us about you. They said it's going to have to change. So that was a bit pushy for me. So I would have had a little bit of an attitude too. I wouldn't have been rude. I just would have been like, I'll speak to my husband about this. Me and my husband will have this conversation later. Me and my husband will discuss our differences as well as the things that we have in common, me and my husband. And I would have shut that down respectfully because me and my husband haven't talked about it. Okay, so that's how I would have shut that down. Don't ask me anything about my money and stuff. That's a bit too much. So I feel like they were probably asked to speak to her in that way about that. But it's not their place. Even if they love him and I will talk about that. That's going a bit too far. It's like, we got to keep some stuff for us. So those are my thoughts.
Definitely hear. Thank you very much, Chris Natha. Thank you very much. Appreciate it a lot. Good summaries there. Seaway, what's your thoughts on Gil and Myla? Quanta la Myla.
This is what I would say. I am not mad at Mirla wanting to spend her money how she wants to spend her money. I'm not mad at her having money and wanting nice things and going out or whatever. Her money is her money. That's how I feel. But what I will say is that, like Chris said, the experts played in their butts with this. I feel like every other couple on here, I feel like they really tried compared to last season. But with this couple, I don't know what's up with Pastor Cal. Pastor Cal and these experts honestly work my spirit. matching women who clearly act hypergamous, who clearly have, to some people's perception, are a bit materialistic. I'm not making a judgment on what they value, but like some people value quality time, some people value, you know, words of affirmation. People like Mirla value material things and gifts and things like that. That is clear. And they continuously try to match them with men that make a fourth of their income. And I don't think that's fair to either one of them. I don't feel like those friends should be telling her what she should be doing with her money, how she's supposed to spend her money. I don't feel like it's fair that they that she's supposed to compromise on, you know, the nice things that she wants in life. I agree, when money is the leading cause of divorce still in America, why would you match a woman with a man who makes a fourth of their income? Especially not a woman that happens to have money and would be okay with that. This is a person who literally put their lubes in their vows. She put her designer shoes in her vows. That's the type of person she is. So I don't know why they would do that. They clearly want some tension, some fight, something, because that was a setup. They're not going to make it. They're not going to make it on that alone. So yeah, that's just not going to work, because she's also traditional and she wants her man to lead. How is a man making what he's making going to keep up with her lifestyle and support her spending habits and pay all the things that she traditionally wants him to pay? That is literally not realistic. So what's going to happen is, if she wants to keep living at her lifestyle, she's going to have to start chipping in on things that she doesn't feel like she should be chipping in on. And then they're going to have a problem. And that problem is not fair, because the experts knew that he made a fourth of her income and that she's traditional. So that's on the experts. I'm not going to put that on neither one of them. What I will say is that Mirla is miserable. Her own friends don't seem like they like her. The entire vows or the about Mirla section was a complete dig. She just seems like she wants to be married for some abstract reason. I haven't yet to figure that out. She doesn't seem like she wants to compromise. She seems like she has a stick in her butt. She's very closed off. I don't think it's going to get better. I don't even think I need any more episodes of her to form an opinion. I think this is the way she's going to be the entire season. And she just seems like a very unhappy, miserable person. And I don't think that's going to work for Gil. It's going to bring down Gil's whole vibe, on top of the fact that he's going to be feeling bad about himself because he don't make the certain amount of money that she makes. So this couple is a flop, and they need to stop doing that. If a woman tells you she makes a $200K, find her a man that makes $250, or don't match her at all. It's like, stop doing that. We don't have to settle for broke niggas. We don't have to do that. Like, we don't have to do it. And people need to stop telling people they got to do it. No. I don't need a man that bad. He got to make 50K. I make 200K. I don't need a man that bad. No. That's on the experts. Sorry.
Okay, cool. Tonight's gonna be interesting. Okay. Okay. Sugar Ray.
I think I want Sean to go before me. I got a rest from that. I need a second. Seaway just went in, yo. This is what I'm gonna say. I don't know. Look, I'm like, my earphones are coming out, my lights are falling. Seaway got me on like a ledge today. Jesus. She just went in. You know, wow, Seaway she just burnt that down. You know, look, I can date a guy who makes a quarter of what I make. I don't care. I can make $100,000 and he can make 25,000 and I'm okay with it. For me, what would be ideal, whether the man is making the more money or the woman is making the more money, you should have a basic account. And in that account should cover expenses, rent, vacations, dates and things like that. And if you are the type of woman that makes 200 grand and you also want to go to Dubai and Italy and buy all your fancy shoes, then you should contribute more to that bank account. Some women don't believe that. Some women feel if I'm making 200,000, he should be making 200,000 or he should be making more than me. Yes. So therefore, if he's not making 200,000, he needs to rise up to my level and do whatever he has to do to make that money. I understand that type of mindset. I don't agree with that mindset. I wouldn't behave in that manner, but I understand that mindset and I respect it. So for me, if Meryl is coming into the situation where she's like, I make $100,000, so therefore I'm going to put $50,000 into the bank account, you put your $5,000, and we're going to take that 55 and we're going to go to all these places. And honey, when you do plan a date night, don't worry, take the family bank account card and we'll just put it on there, then that shouldn't be an issue. But if she's expecting him to rise up and to get to his level, then I totally agree with Seaway. It's unfair and they're set up for failure. I will say this. Ladies, don't be with no cheap man, okay? His friend said he is extremely cheaper. We over here talking about Mirla. That is a problem. A cheap man is a non-generous man. And if we want to be in relationships, women, it doesn't matter if he makes $10,000 and you make 100, because a man can make $10,000 if he's generous. He can buy you an ice cream. He can buy you a rose. He can buy you a card. He can paint you something. He can crochet you something. Hallelujah. He can hand lotion you something. Praise God. Yes. That's why I like you some Zack. Hallelujah. So, all, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not into all of that. But what I'm not going to be with is a cheap man. Okay? So how come we not talking about that, Kojo? My rant is over.
I can't wait to get into this. Oh my gosh. Let me just stretch.
Oh, he's stretching.
Stretch for this one. I'll limber up a little bit. But
and Sean
OG
hasn't gone yet either. Oh God.
I have
oh
to
God.
say, OG, take my hand off the steering wheel. OG, what are you saying?
So listen, this was sheer torture just sitting here listening to this for the last, I lost count of how many minutes I had to sit here and listen. This is ridiculous. This lady has been miserable from start to finish. The man said to her, "Your lips are beautiful." He asked her, she said, rather, her response, "What about my dress?" Come on. And she's talking about all this spending and Seaway, I guess, in addition to attorney, we're going to add CPA at the end of your name, because clearly you did Mirla's W-2s for 2020. Because how did we get to the fact that she makes over $200,000 and Gil makes a quarter, 25% less than her?
He said that.
How we? I didn't hear $200,000. I didn't hear a number.
She said she made $200K. I'm gonna run the tape.
But how do we know he makes 25% less? In any event, this is just one of the many issues I have with this conversation, right? So this woman is out here talking about red bottoms, Louis, Prada, Fendi. Ma'am, you are advising principals. Last time I checked, that's not $1 million salary where you can afford to be going on shopping sprees every week and still manage a lifestyle and have a family, right? So at some point, you need to consider your finances and how that all adds up together in your marriage, right? And then guess what? You've been wonderfully single for all 34 years, living your life the way you want to do it. How's that working? How's that working for you? How are those outcomes, right? So you're living your life. I love that when women say, I'm independent, I can do what I want. Yeah, but you want to be married, right? So marriage is the opposite of independence. It's interdependence. So that means sacrifice. That means looking and giving up things that were important to you, sacrificing those things for the greater good of your family. And at the end of the day, a shopping spree versus a marriage, which one would you prefer? Which one would you prefer, ma'am? That's what I want to ask you. So are those Louis? Is that Louis purse gonna keep you warm at night? No, it's not. And that's the problem. We're over prioritizing superficial things, and she's consistently done it time and time again. Whether it's the wedding dress, whether it's that she was a bag of flour at her own bachelorette party, where she couldn't even have a good time, right? Even Bao had a good time at the bachelorette party. She's sitting there stiff as a board, can't have fun, won't even kiss the man, put on those Christmas Santa Claus flannel pajamas the first night they're together. So all of these things add up to somebody that's not ready for marriage, somebody that wants somebody to be on her program. She's not even open to the conversation. And you see in the previews, Gil winds up calling her high maintenance, and she still is resistant to it. She can't hear feedback. She's not open to anything. She's insulting, her own bridesmaids about their makeup the day of the wedding. How many more things do we have to see that this lady needs some help? She is very inflexible, and that is problematic. So if she wants to have her high maintenance shopping sprees, maybe she needs to do it by herself, because it ain't going to work in a marriage. It's not. It's going to cause problems. One of the number one reasons for divorce is finances. And I'm done.
Kojo, can I say one thing?
Go for it.
I want to be clear. I agree with literally like 90% of the things Sean said. I think that she's very high maintenance. I think her priorities are all effed up. I can't even relate to the woman that wants all these designer things. My fiance literally buys me designer things, and all my friends are like, Kristen just wants to go to TGI Fridays and don't even care. So that's like the type of person I am. So I don't really relate to superficial people, but my only issue is what I was saying is that you can't match a hypergamous woman who values superficial things, whether we think that aligns with marriage or not, with a person like Gil. Because let's say Merla's trash. I think she's trash. I think she berated her bridesmaids. I think she's snooty. I think her energy is not set up for marriage, even though she thinks it is. I agree with all of that. But why set her up with Gil? If she wants a man who makes more money than her, why do that? I can't put all that blame on Merla. And maybe she will find a man that can do all of those things and likes the superficial things like she do, and they can be superficial together, and she can have her shopping sprees and whatever. There's a man out here for everyone. I don't think it's going to be the nice man she's looking for, because a lot of those type of men that she's looking for won't act like Gil. She ain't going to get the Gil in the shopping sprees. Most likely, you're going to have to give up some stuff a lot of the times. So she may not be cool with that. It's a sacrifice she's going to have to make. But she can find a man with money. It just may not look like what she thinks it's going to look like. And it definitely don't look like Gil. And that's all I'm saying. Like, they shouldn't have done that. They shouldn't have done that. And I'm not going to put all that blame on Merla. I'm not superficial. I don't think being superficial works for a partnership in marriage, because there's so many ups and downs and hills and valleys to marriage. And if you're putting designer things in your vows, your mindset is probably already not prepared for what it takes to be in a marriage. And I don't think she's prepared. But I also think if we could see that in a couple seconds, the way Merla's acting. But I just want to say, Kojo, if I may, remember when they came to her house? She kind of lied to them. She was talking about reading books in the corner. I don't know if y'all remember it, but she was like, I just want a man to read a book with. And then it was like, as soon as she gets picked, then she wanted shopping sprees and Louis bags. I'm like, you just told Dr. Pepper that you wanted a man to read a book with and watch Netflix. So I feel like she low-key was trying to act like she was like this real down-to-earth, chill chick. And then as soon as she got picked, now she wants her Louis bags. So maybe she fooled them. I don't know. So.
Go for it, Brittany.
I just wanted to say with Marla, to Seaway's point, I feel like not just women, but people come on the show wanting marriage, thinking of it in the wrong, just having a bad concept of it, right? Because Marla, I'll just use her since we're on her. She is very independent. She likes her lifestyle. But at the same time, Seaway just said that she wants to read a book in the corner with her man. It's like either you want the money or you want the emotion. You can have both, but you gotta want to compromise at the same time. You get what I'm saying? So you can't get everything you want the way you want it. It's not gonna work like that in a marriage. And I did notice that very early on when they first introduced both of them, because as soon as they said that Gil is on the cheap end and Marla likes to spend her money and buy labels, I said, I don't know how this is going to work. But to what I said, there could be balance if she is willing to compromise. They could very well work and balance each other out. We don't know them fully yet. We can go off of whatever we want, whatever we see now from them. But like, I guess with Gil, so to speak, I don't know when it comes to traveling, if he's willing to spend that kind of money. He might be. He might want to. But again, there comes balance with that. Right? So even with Marla, she got to understand sometimes you're not going to be able to just spend your money when you feel like it on these designer labels and stuff. So I feel like their relationship could work, but they got to be able to compromise on these things. And that's what I was saying. But when it comes to just wanting a marriage and you coming in with a certain idea of how it's going to look, I think Marla is definitely getting, not just Marla, but all of them are really seeing what marriage really is. And it's not what they came on thinking it was.
Thank you very much.
I feel like they're living in a fairy tale land.
I appreciate it. You know what? I will not be as hard on Myla, because I do believe the Experts done finished her off, right? Because they knew what she was like and what she wants and didn't give her even close to what she needs, right? Seemingly, right? We don't know his financial income status at the moment, so I can't make that deduction fully because we don't know what he makes. We just know that his friend said he was cheap. Now, what I would say is, my only issue I had with Myla is not that she's high maintenance. It is the inflexibility that she put out there straight away, right? She straight away, when she was being asked, saying, well, I'm having this lifestyle. This lifestyle is what I'm going to have. And this is, this is it. Like you have to meet it or not, anything like that. And what it showed was an inflexibility. And one thing that people need to realize is, in a marriage especially, or even relationship, is you have to almost look at it as a three-legged race, okay? The other day I saw a video of a blind athletic 100-meter runner, right? And he had to run with the person beside him, right? Now, if that runner decides to untie himself and run past the blind athlete, we are no longer in partnership. And this is where it becomes very difficult. And this is what I'm going to say, this honest, and this is one of the dark truths I'm going to put out there. I'm going to put the dark truth out there for some of you ladies. Let me play my little clip. Dark arts. That's the wrong one. I should put dark truth. But anyway, listen, dark truths. Here's a dark truth. We're in a generation where women can now earn more and and their bracket of men has shifted. The problem is, especially for us black community, the men haven't shifted at the same rate, seemingly, with those black women. So there's a hell of a lot of black women, very much educated, well off, with finances and stuff like that, who are hypergamous, but the men are not there. So now when it comes to marriage, if you're going to be honest with yourself, you may find yourself in a situation where the gentleman may earn less than you. And this is where the three-legged analogy comes in. If you say you're going to be completely inflexible, you will not have a partner. You will have a slave, or the relationship will end. Right? And I'm not saying that even Gil is even right too, because at the same time, he has to be able to be flexible too. I think there's a complete compromise here. For instance, if you're booking a holiday, she may want a five-star hotel. And I think Ray mentioned this. She may have to fit a bit more into it. And this is where he needs to be spoken to very, very clearly. Gil, if you're going to have a pride and an ego, you better shut it down. You better shut your ego down, right? Because this is where the compromise comes in. Do you know what I'm saying? This is where we work together. This is where we start to see we have to say, okay, look, I know you love the really posh restaurants. You know what? You might have to put a bit more in so we can get that nice hotel this time, right? Okay, and that is how compromises work in marriage. Do you know what I'm saying? Right, and that's how it's going to work in this particular case. I don't know how this is going to work with these two because I'm not sure if either of them at the moment can shift and move at this moment. I've not been given any evidence for either of them being able to shift and to move. He wants to keep it low key. She wants to keep it high key. What I would say is that Myla's need for finances to spend money does seem to come from her childhood in terms of her being poor when she grew up, and it's obviously affected us to the point where she's like, I'm gonna live a high lifestyle, and I'm never going back to that place where I'm not gonna have finances. She mentioned that in the very first episode, so it's clearly traumatic for her to have no money. That's gonna be an issue, right? And so I can understand why she wants to spend, right? And she's actually got the same problem that most couples have, which is this. Normally one's a spender, one's a saver. There has to be a level of compromise. And once you begin to understand what it means for her to spend, I think Gil can begin to kind of shift a little bit and understand, I don't have to be so tight-fisted. Spending for her means freedom. Okay, spending for her helps her for some level of therapy, right? She works hard and she can spend a little bit of her money. And this is where I think both people can come together. And I also talk about having a joint account and a disposable income separate account. Like, we don't have to fight. We agree on mutual income we agree on the finance we have. We say, hey, these are the bills, okay? And this is the savings we want to make every month. Now, here's your disposable income. Do whatever you want with your disposable income. Right? That's the budget done. Do you know what I'm saying? If she spends on a £500 bag, you can't chat. We've already budgeted the allocation and she's agreed to how much money she's going to have for her disposable income. And bearing in mind, her ratio is going to be different to yours if she earns more. And that's how it should be, how we're working together. It shouldn't be a straight cat and dog fight where now I'm scared because you spend too much, or you're scared I'm cheap, so I'm going to restrict you. We have to be able to work together. Do you know what I'm saying? And this is why I would say that sometimes having that third party who's wise in both of your corners to be able to suggest this will actually open your eyes. Because even if one person has this idea, it can be very hard to communicate that to a person, to let them see, hey, you know what, we can actually work together. So I don't want to say that I didn't actually have a problem with her being high maintenance. I just had an issue with the tone, the way she was like, this is it, we are not going anywhere. And I was like, sis. You know what I'm saying? That was the only thing. So, yeah, if you're a lady out there and you make a lot of money, you might have to try and compromise a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You might just have to. I don't know if anyone wants to add a little bit extra before we no? You're good? You're good. Go for it, Brittany.
I mean, here's the thing. She don't have to compromise, but just know when you come on a show like this, you're going to have to compromise. Like, you don't know who you're getting paired with. That's where I'm coming from with it. Because somebody saying in the comments that we expecting Marla to compromise already. Yeah, you're gonna have to if you want the marriage to work. Let's be realistic here. But, and again, if she knew what she was getting herself into, there's no way she would put herself on the show. Period. End of story. Because when you come on the show, you don't know who you're gonna get. And my point from earlier is just looking at the bigger picture. If they can really balance each other out. They just got to be able to let go. Well, what's her name again? How you say her name?
Myla.
Myla.
Yeah.
Yes, Myla is just coming off just so tight-lipped with what she has. It's not making for a good situation. At least that's how it's being shown on TV. So, Gil, I don't know how his approach is, but I feel like he's open. But at the same time, if you get someone coming at you defensively, the other party is going to be on the defense as well. So I'm not surprised that what's happening and what may occur down the line. So that's just what it is. If you know your lifestyle, don't put your life up the chance for other people to put you with someone else. Period. End of story.
And I want to add one last thing, because someone made a comment like this, right? I want to just address this. This is what I'm talking about this is where marriages break down. Ego, pride, needs to be killed from both sides, right? When you get into a marriage, it's not I and it's not me, it is our, right? We have to start getting into that mindset. Listen, I understand that all of us have gone to school, got educated. We have our thoughts on how we want to operate. And especially as ladies, you guys have done so much work on yourselves and moved up the ladder. But we have to look at it as we. When you get into a marriage, right? I remember I was talking to a friend of mine, around about the same age as me, and I was saying, how do you guys talk about finances? He said, listen, we budget everything, and even when we have a disposable income, when we say we're going to spend over £100, we just let the other person know, right? And we discuss it. If we say, cool, yeah, I understand. You said you were going to buy it. It's budgeted. All right, cool. It's over £100. That's how they do it, right? Not everyone's going to do that. But what they were talking about was the unity, right? This is what I'm trying to say. Our generation needs to understand when you are getting married, two are becoming one. There is no, I've worked hard, so I'm not going to let someone. No. It's two becoming one. There's unity. Okay, so we want to promote that in the marriage, and when both people get to that point where they see the other, I think Ray said this, I think some weeks back, really eloquently about serving one another, and I think this is where we miss it. We're coming into things thinking you're just gonna serve me. No, it's a mutual serving. And when we both put each other first, the idea of me goes out the window and it becomes about us. And when I put you first and you're putting me first, automatically, whenever I'm doing anything, I'm thinking of you, right? I'm thinking of you. So we need to have that mindset. We need to encourage our generation and those after us to start thinking, if you're going to get married, I want you to understand you are going to have to compromise financially. It's even your spiritual life. You got to compromise. You can't be always in the third heavens. My friend, you got to come down. You got to live the real life. Do you know what I'm saying? Emotionally, physically, mentally, sexually. There's going to have to gives and takes in all areas. So, let's come to that understanding of unity first and foremost. But I appreciate everyone's points because you guys made some really great points as well about Myla as well. And I actually agree. I think she got a bad match as well. So, they put her in with a guy who's not not that financially astute. So yeah, I definitely hear that as well. Let's talk a little bit about Bao and Johnny. Bao and Johnny. Do you know what? Physical touch was one of the issues that they had, and I think it's a pretty interesting conversation. Sugar Ray's looking at me like, it's tight. So I'm gonna let you go first. What was your thoughts on Bao and Johnny?
I love this couple, but I feel so bad for Johnny.
Why?
I don't know. I'm very tactile, and what would I do if the guy I was married to, that they set me up with, didn't want to be touched? Could you imagine? He wouldn't want to be touched. I would be devastated. And he said that wasn't his love language, that would be at the least. That means that he wouldn't hold my hands. He wouldn't give me PDA. He wouldn't grab my booty, the little bit that I have. You know what I mean? He wouldn't touch me. I think that would devastate me. And then how do I create a space for that? How do I allow myself to be patient? But for how long do I remain patient? And I don't know. I don't know. This one really freaked me out. And I just felt so bad for Johnny because I don't know. See, this to me is really, really bad stuff. This to me is really terrible because did you see when she put the pillow between the two of them? She was like, here's our love. What did she call it? Their love barrier or their some kind of barrier. Like she's setting up barriers already in the relationship. Touch is key. And she's already putting a block. And I don't know. I have mad brothers and they all talk about, for me, when they talk about relationships and girls, it's touch. It's intimacy. It's, men are simple. Men want to be fed, they want to be felt, and they want to be blooped. Okay? Just add the F. They want to be fed, they want to be felt, and they want to be blooped. Men are simple. Okay? And I can't imagine getting into a relationship with a man and you telling a man, don't touch me. I don't like to be touched. I like acts of service. I don't know what I would do. I would have a hard time if I was Johnny, and I'm a chickie. I'm a female, and I'm having a hard time with that. How are you gonna get into a relationship? Look, maybe I'm being judgmental. Maybe I'm not understanding, but this one rubs me the wrong way. You don't want to be touched, child. You better stay at home and just touch yourself. Then, well, I don't know. It just made no sense to me. But that's all I have to say.
Totally hear that. Thank you very much, Ray. Thank you very much, Ray. But to touch on your experience in terms of like, if you couldn't, why, if, how do you think you would have, how do you think I know you said you weren't sure how you would handle it, but how do you think you would go about having a conversation with your partner if they didn't, or they weren't forthright with physical touch?
This is what I would do. The first thing I would do is I would call up my dear friends that I trust, and I would ask them to put me in a space of prayer. And the prayer would be that I stay in that space of remembrance that I'm here to be of service. I would try my best to create a foundation where he would feel comfortable and feel that he could trust me to hopefully break down that barrier. So I would really try to lead by example and try to create an environment where he could feel safe and warm and cocooned and covered and respected. And I'm going to use a word that may be triggering to some. I would even maybe move more into a submissive role to, not saying that I'm not, but I would move more into that role of submission. I would lean into it more in hopes that he would trust me more to be able to experience touch. That's what I would do. Maybe that sounds crazy to y'all, but that's what just came to me.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much, Ray. Thank you, man. I appreciate you sharing that. Love for that. My mediator, Chris Nuther, what's he saying? What's your thoughts? Bao and Johnny.
Well, physical touch is one of my languages, so this is the opposite for me. But yeah, if my partner wasn't into touching at all, that would be similar to Ray. I'd be like, oh, okay. Okay, so how are we gonna do this? But she didn't have an issue when he was getting a garter. I'm just saying, he was up under that dress, but he was up under that dress, and she was just like, okay, now. But I think that they're going to have continuous conversation about this, because Bao continues to say things like, we're matched for a reason. I feel like the universe put us together. So there's a sense of, I'm supposed to be with him. At least that's what I'm getting. And so if she feels that way, then I think that there's still hope. I think that being that he spoke to her friends and her friends said, listen, we don't even hug her. She doesn't like to be touched. But I think that because they have a somewhat of a history, and she seems that she really wants to be in this, that they can work on this. I hope that this is not a season where like they can't and she's super closed. But I think that Johnny should take baby steps with her if that's what she needs. Starting with holding her hand. Hey, do you mind if I hold your hand? It kind of sucks you have to do all that with your wife, but I'm just saying, whatever it takes for her to, because I don't know why she feels that way. Maybe they didn't hug in her family, right? That might be something that's just so foreign. Who knows? Or maybe, I don't want to put trauma on her, but there could be so many reasons. And so I think he's going to have to be patient with her, but they should talk about it. I don't want to see him pulling a Clara. I don't want to see him like fussing when he think the camera isn't on about it. Like, I want them to talk about it, and hopefully she can let her guard down and they can start getting closer. Cause like, I think the pillow is just way too dramatic though. That's just my opinion, right? Cause that's just based on me. I think that's a bit much. Like, it's okay. You're in the same bed. You're married. It's okay. Like, it's all right. So yeah, I hope that they grow beyond this point, but I could see that being a little challenging for somebody who love language is physical touch. So hopefully she evolves in that area and he's patient in that area and that they can meet in the middle.
Appreciate it, Chris. No, I appreciate that. Love those points as well. Around Johnny and Bao. I appreciate that. Yes. Brittany, you wanna add?
Sure. Okay, so Bao and John, why are you laughing, Coach? Look, when I'm typing, I get my face get serious. Okay, so but anyway, Bao and Johnny, they're an interesting couple. Because the things Bao says doesn't match up how they don't really match her physical reactions, if I'm saying this right. She wants to be married. She likes Johnny. She says she does. I think she does. But just like Johnny has his issue with wanting to be touched so much or clinged onto, Bao has her own issue with affection. I think Johnny should have asked her brothers a better question, which is, did you guys grow up with affection in the house? Because then maybe there's something to it. Clearly, there's something to it, because nobody just doesn't like to be touched just because. She did say she came up poor. That may have something to do with it, and not receiving affection from her mother or father. And Johnny, I don't know. I feel like Chris Nathan was saying, like, they need to have a talk. I feel like once they have the conversation and they sit down and talk about things and dig deep, I feel like things can be better. I like them as a couple. I feel like they could work. Bao has to let up a little bit too, because she a little tight-gripped as well, just a little bit with who she is. And that's not to say that she has to change her ways. But again, when you're in a marriage, like, sometimes if you want to get to know someone, you got to open up. And I feel like she has to let some of her guards down a little bit in certain areas, and not be so turned off by different things. Because some of the things she's turned off by are very juvenile. I'm just like, whatever. It's really not that serious. Like going to a sports game or something like that. I think that was one of the issues she had. Somebody who likes sports, that's going to be a problem for her or something. Yeah, it shouldn't be that serious. But other than that, I think they could work. It's just they have to have a conversation like most of the couples on the show if they want things to work. But I think Bao and Johnny could definitely last. But there has to be compromises in certain areas in order for things to happen. And I'm not saying fully compromise yourself, but be able to, again, serve your partner. It becomes us when you get married. You can't get everything you want and not give to the other. It's unbalanced. And, it's just like if one cup is half empty, they're not going to be able to give you anything. It's going to start to build up resentment a little bit. And I know I can't deal with that either. I like affection. I need affection. So if I'm not getting it, like Ray said, I'd rather be by myself.
Appreciate that, Brittany. Appreciate it. Bars. Wait, so if you were in a situation where the partner wasn't physically touching, seemingly wasn't interested in that kind of aspect, what would you do? What would be your response?
My response, I would sit down and talk to them and ask them why. Like, what did something happen? Because I want to understand. I like to understand people and why they've come to the decision that they've come to, or why they don't do certain things. Now, if you don't want to open up to me, that's fine too. But we can't be together if I can't have an understanding of why you do what you do, because then there's nothing I can do to help. I'm here to help you, just like you're here to help me too. Like, if we got issues, we can help work through some of those things depending on how deep they are, because then we might just need to go to therapy at the same time, individually, to work some of those things out. But I personally will want to sit down and have a conversation about what's going on so we can, figure out why is it that I guess you don't want to be touched, because there's something to that. But, if you don't want to speak on it, that's fine. I can't force you. But, I don't know where we can go from here, because that's something I need. And if I can't get something that I need, I don't know how this is going to work, especially if that's high on the priority list of, emotional needs.
Totally hear that. Thank you very much, Brittany. Much love for that. Thank you for sharing your personal experience as well. Siwe.
I actually wanted Sean's opinion first.
Oh, Sean, you're being requested, sir, to step up to the plate. That means she wants to drop a rebuttal for you later on and let you get.
We may be on the same page. I just wanted his opinion.
She wants to see if you're on the same page today. Cause is that gonna happen? OG, is that gonna happen?
So, Seaway, I was so glad to have you back, and I don't know how I feel about us being on opposing counsel today. I'm trying to wrap it all up. I got Ray over here, which I'm used to that. Then she's got a new growing fan club in the comment section. So I'm concerned. So I'm concerned. Can we just turn Ray's camera off, please? Can we turn her and mute her and all of it?
Sean, don't be a hater. Don't be a hater.
No, not a hater. I'm a lover. I don't hate. There's no hate coming from here. But I will say that, like everyone else has said, there's some extremes here, and I Johnny is extremely touchy feely, and wants a lot of validation, it seems, and I don't know where that comes from. He was positioned as some type of player in college and things like that, but I'm not getting player vibes. He's a little insecure from what I see, and he just needs all this touchy feely, slap my butt, things that it just doesn't add up to me. And Bao is the exact opposite. And the thing that just concerned me a little bit is I could see for some of the other couples that were just meeting each other for the first time, but there's some context here, right? This person, he's not a stranger, and you're still struggling with this element of touch. So similar to what Britt said earlier about wanting to get underneath what that's about, right? Wanting to find out what's really driving that. But my thing is, if you got some issues that you don't like to touch people, what do you expect to happen in a marriage? Like, what's your expectation that happens in a marriage where you just have an aversion to touching your spouse? That's problematic. How do we know that there's a connection? And then to be paired with somebody that loves physical touch, that's gonna really cause issues, because that's going to continue to eat away at him, because that's something that he needs, right? And we can get into, is it the extreme? Can we find a balance? Of course. But at the end of the day, there isn't any human being on this earth that wants to be in a marriage with somebody that doesn't want to touch them. We haven't even ventured down the path of sex. We're just talking touch, right? And she is like putting up a brick wall, right? She built that brick wall body pillow right in between them as soon as he said that, right? And to me, I thought that was very intentional of her, because she's very analytical. As soon as they got in the bed together, by the way, her pajamas were really nice and probably the most sexy of all the ladies. So for anybody out there counting, I said something nice. So that's your nice comment for me. But she built that wall, and she separated them. As soon as he's like, oh, when I'm by myself, I put a body pillow. As soon as he said that, she's like, oh, that's my cue, because you definitely aren't going to get any chances of even merely touching me, cuddling me. Our bodies are not going to touch. And I just thought, like, come on. And I thought he was so nice and so patient with taking that dress off. I mean, it seemed like it took the whole episode for him to get that dress off. And then he had to go through all these painstaking lengths to take all those pins out of her hair. And she can't even give the man a hug or a kiss. I mean, who wants to go through all of that for nothing at the end of the night with your wife, right? So I'm just really concerned. I hope that they can unpack what's going on, and hopefully she can find a way to meet him somewhere in the middle, and perhaps he can meet somewhere in the middle. It's about the compromise, right? He's not going to get her jumping all over his back and trying to, slap his butt. That's probably never going to happen. But at least we can meet somewhere in the middle where she is showing him affection in a physical way.
Big points. Appreciate that. Seaway, did he? Did you match
I
the thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's something wrong with me, but I just feel like we're all just being a tad bit dramatic. Actually, a lot dramatic about this whole situation. Again, I could just be, the oddball out over here, but I just didn't think I don't think it's that abnormal that some people don't want to be touched. I know for everyone in this panel, like, that may be a big deal, but like when I was in 8th grade, I remember people used to always hug people in the hallways, and I always just had an aversion to people hugging me. I was like, I don't want you to hug me. And there was nothing wrong with me. I have no childhood trauma. I didn't want people hugging me, and I still don't like people hugging me. And so I don't know, maybe with Bao, I kind of identify with her because sometimes it takes me a minute to warm up to people, and I'm not like very touchy feely type of person. So I don't think I don't think there's anything to uncover just yet. I think we're getting ahead of ourselves just a little bit, in my opinion. And sometimes it's a defense mechanism, especially as women, to keep us from moving you up off of us all night. That game you have to play when you first get to know people, be like, hey, like, okay, can you scoot over, or can you not touch me? Whatever. You just put a pillow, so then we ain't gotta play that game. I put the pillow in the middle, so ain't no confusion. This first night we gonna sleep, okay? We gonna sleep, and I'm gonna get to know you in the morning. I don't know. That's just not that weird. So, I think over time, I think Bao also culturally, I think Johnny also is the one-off culturally, and I'm going to explain that. A lot of times, I think in their particular culture, in a lot of Asian cultures, they're very rigid. And all that touchy-feely emotions, crying, they don't do that. I think Johnny actually does it more. He's more westernized than most. And so I think Bao actually is really aligning with her particular culture. But I do think the important part with them is that I think Bao and Johnny both want to be married. And I both think they have an idea of what marriage is, and I think they have a solid foundation. So I'm not really concerned about them moving because, as Kojo, or I think Kojo said, someone said, they're both kind of on not extremes, but they're both on either side. So they're both going to have to move. And I think they both will move, but I just think it's just day one. It's not that weird. And we shouldn't have to kiss or hug or do anything to please the man. I know we should want to be good to our husbands, but I don't think anyone should be doing anything for the benefit, just for the sole benefit of their partner on day one if they're uncomfortable. I just think that takes time, and we gotta respect people's time because not everyone is different. So, I don't think there's something wrong with Bao, but I do for the emotional touch people in the group. I am not one of them. But for you guys, I get why it's kind of a big red flag. But from a person who's not that way, to me, I just didn't find nothing weird about it. I would put my body pillow too. I don't know. This is me.
I actually hear that. You know what I mean? I do hear that. I think Bao and Johnny are on two extremes. He obviously has some childhood trauma in the sense of the fact that, in terms of wanting to hear I love you and care and this, that, never had that. So, he's wants that physical touch and affection to show that he's loved and cared for. And actually he needs it. Right? So this is they're on a time clock. Right? Because this is something that is needed for him to feel validated and to make him feel safe. She's on a time clock. It's just that simple. That she's on a time clock. Whether I agree with that or not, I don't really agree with that. But it is a show. They're on Married at First Sight. And due to his childhood experiences, they're on a time clock. If she doesn't hug him very soon or give him some touchy real soon, he's going to start feeling like she does not like him due to the trauma. So we're going to need him to get some therapy too, okay? In terms of Bao as well, I totally get it. You don't want to be hugging on the first date, but actually, Johnny said he's gonna. He was being quite respectful. He said he didn't want to be doing all that kind of stuff because he understand that she was not fully comfortable with it, right? And so I totally hear. Sorry, I totally hear about not wanting to touch on the first day, and I don't think anyone's. Well, I hope no one's making a claim that you should touch your person on the first day. I totally understand that. What I would say is, could she have not just said, listen, you sleep, I'm going to sleep tonight? Did she need to put the pillow right there? Right? Did she need to do that? Because that, for me, shows just how serious how much she wanted to make sure there was a partition between the two of them. The bed is quite big. Like, did she need to put the partition there? And what does that signal as well? You know what I'm saying? If by you putting that partition, don't get it twisted. Listen, I've seen that happen when people are friends. When you're a friend and you're like your boy and your girl, you want to make sure this cat out here is a bit dangerous. So you just gotta make sure you put the partition there. Tonight you ain't gonna get close to me, right? I get that, right? But this is meant to be your partner. I'm not saying you have to touch. I'm saying, did she need to put the partition there? And what does it mean to put that partition there? Is there something deeper there, right? But I know it's not. I know it's not her love language, so that's something she's gonna have to work on. But not being your love language does not equate to you now putting a physical pillow in between the two of you, right? Because not everyone's love language is physical touch, so we get that, right? But that seems like there's something more behind it, and I don't want to speculate just yet because I don't think we have enough evidence to. I'm just kind of seeing that, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, that is awful, guys. That comment is absolutely, it's so bad, but it's so good. I wonder if there's something behind that. That's why I'm saying that. So the not touching thing, I get it. I'm just wondering something behind that, because he did actually ask the question to the family if they hug and stuff like that, and they didn't really answer it. They didn't really kind of answer it. So I'm guessing that they don't really do that kind of stuff, like I said, culturally. So it's not something that they necessarily do. So I can receive that. They're gonna have to work on that though. You know what I'm saying? Brittany was gonna say something first. Sorry, and then I'll let you go, Seaway. Go for Brittany.
I just wanted to say to Seaway, I get the whole thing about not wanting to be touched and everything, because I know a lot of people who ain't touchy feely. Like my best friend, she's not like that. But I'm looking at things for down the line, in the language she's using, in the language he's using. It's showing that she don't want to be touched at all. Like sis don't want no parts of his hands touching her at all. The hugs, that's what I'm getting. Now, I don't think anybody is entitled to a kiss or anything, at this point, if they don't want to be touched because they just met. It's the first day. I probably wouldn't want to. I know I wouldn't want to kiss somebody on the first day, not on the lips. I don't know you like that, unless there's some type of chemistry there. But, just the language she's giving. Same with Johnny, because Johnny got his issues too. The way he was talking was like he really, really need to be touched. And sir, you don't need it that much. Like, relax. But clearly there's an issue there that he feels as though he needs to be cleaned onto. But with Bao, it's just like she just seemed like she don't want to be touched at all. And I feel like that is a red flag. Like down the line, if that is his love language and that's like the number one thing for him, he ain't gonna want to be with her. There's no way. And Bao, I feel like because she grew up that way, she doesn't know how to express herself that way either. So there's a disconnect there somewhere. And that's why I think I said, you got to sit down and talk it out and figure out where that's coming from to see if maybe she can give a little bit. I'm not expecting for her to be all over him throughout their marriage, but give him a little something, like give him some hugs sometimes, give him like a little swipe of the arm or whatever, something like that. But other than that, I do feel like it can make for an issue down the line.
See what you were gonna say?
I was gonna say I low key think that pillow thing was a joke, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure when the cameras went away, I think she probably moved the pillow. I could be 100% wrong, but even the way they were connecting over the pillow, she has a lot of she's very dry and sarcastic. Like even the way she talks and makes her humor. I think that pillow thing was a joke. Now she left it there all night. She dead serious that we made it. We made it think about the thing, and she left it there all night. She was a fool, but we knew she was a fool for the Nobel Peace Prize thing. So Bao been a fool, but I like her a lot. She's hilarious. But yeah, she left the pillows up all night. She is savage and she's hilarious. But I think she probably moved it and still told Johnny, "Okay, you cute, but I need you to stay over there." I bet everyone in this panel that we're gonna have like 2 more episodes, and she's gonna be dropping it low, and she's gonna be hugging Johnny. They're gonna be fine. I don't think we gotta panic.
Sean said he doesn't
gonna
agree.
be dropping it like it's hot. Watch.
You don't agree, Sean? You put the cat back on the freaking now, Sean. You don't agree, Sean?
No, not one itsy bitsy bit do I agree that this woman is going to do a 180-degree change. I don't see it. I'm sorry. I think people give you glimpses of who they are very early on, and she is touch averse and he is not. And I hear people in the comments like, why are we spending so much time on this? Because from someone that's been married, if you can't love me the way that I want to be loved, that is a problem. And when you tell someone, whether it's a man telling his wife or a wife telling her husband, that the way I want to be loved doesn't work for me, then that becomes an issue. And we're talking about love here. Everybody was defending not everyone, but there was a big Mirla fan club, and we're talking about her shopping and buying designer clothes. This man is telling you, this is how I want to be loved. And he can't simply get it. And nobody is saying sex. We're just saying, let's work towards something. You decided to get married at first sight. You weren't dragged into this process. So you knew that you would be potentially marrying a stranger. But here you are in a relationship and fortunately married someone where there is a context. He's not a complete stranger, and you can't hold his hand. You can't have a conversation with like, hey, listen, I'm comfortable with this, but I'm not comfortable with that. So as long as you can respect me here, let's, I know this is important to you. This is how you give windows into how the marriage is going to work, because you're hearing what the other is saying that they need, and you are making room for their needs. If we can't do that, and every time I say something or you say something, it's a shutdown and it's a my way or the highway, we're not going to work together long term, because it's always going to be that for everything. You've got to put yourself out of your comfort zone. That's where I'm at on it.
I love that, Sean. Love that. All right, cool. Let's shift it over. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate that. Let's discuss Ryan and Brett. I don't know what you want to say about them. I'm not gonna lie to you, bruv. I don't know what you're gonna say about them. They had probably they had about 30 minutes, 40 minutes viewing time, but I don't know what you're gonna say about them. So I'm gonna open up that floor. See, what you gonna say?
I mean, they're kind of unproblematic thus far.
Yeah.
Ryan came on the screen, looked like he's about to cry again all the time. I mean, that's still forever going on. But I was happy that they were attracted to each other. They seemed like they had a really good initial attraction. He really seemed like for a person with his background and all the women he used to date and sleep with and stuff like that, I know for him, physical attraction was key. So I did think it was good that they have that he was attracted to her, even though he said she had a unique vibe, a unique look. I can tell that he was attracted to her. So that was good. It seems like the only hang-ups thus far, they seem to get along and have a lot of stuff in common. They kind of made a big deal about the ranch thing and the do-si-do dancing and stuff like that. I think they just kind of played that up. I'm not sure if those differences between him liking to hunt and her not and stuff like that are going to turn into a really big deal. I think so far so good. I can see Brett maybe being a little harsh for Ryan, and Ryan and his sad eyes. I don't know. Just every time I see him, he looks so sad. But he seemed happy overall on the marriage day. But yeah, I don't have much. They're boring. Boring is good though for them, not for us talking about it. But they're boring. I don't have much for them except for so far they're okay. I think.
Appreciate that, Seaway. Love for that. I don't even have a follow-up question because I don't know what to ask about them two. I'm not going to lie to you. But I appreciate you, Seaway. Chris Natha, jump in for me. Tell me. Brett and Ryan.
I want Ryan to smile. Like, he was stressing me out. He looked so sad. I'm like, what is wrong, Ryan? Let's talk about it. Like, let's sit on this couch and let's talk about it. Cause like, that was stressing me out. I guess cause I like to smile. I was like, what is the problem? But they both seemed very excited and nervous at the altar. So that was nice to see. I don't see huge issues with them either. The whole thing about him being country, listen, this is Texas. I'm in Houston. You might get a cowboy. Okay, he might have a horse. We are in Texas. Now, everybody doesn't live that way, but the chances are higher, right? There's people who really do have farms. She was nervous about him hunting. She doesn't have to become a hunter, right? That's just his thing, right? So I think once they start really talking about who they are, their personalities, what are their pastimes, she'll maybe see him in his element and he can see her in her element. But everything doesn't have to be, doesn't mean she has to like start doing that too. So I know she was worried about that. Then they were talking about the hair color. Honestly, the issues, what were considered issues to me weren't issues. Very small things. They weren't a big deal at all. I just, I know that his family said that he seems serious, but he's not, and that his favorite movie is The Notebook and all that stuff. I hope that we'll see him smiling more. I hope we'll see him smiling more. And that he can just let loose, relax. And I think that so far it looks like they'll be okay. So I'm wishing them the best. I truly wish them the best. I just want him to smile, be happy, and whatever is like bringing him so down that can start to that burden can start to be lifted. So we'll see.
Thank you very much, Chris Natha. Appreciate that. That burden needs to be lifted. He needs a little sprinkle of G's up and gospel music up and You know what I'm saying? Just to lift the spirit a little bit. You know what I'm saying? The spirit feels heavy in him. You know what I mean? Just feels a little bit heavy. You know, so I appreciate Chris Natha. Yeah, appreciate you. Britt, what are you saying? Brett, Ryan, what do you think? Yeah.
I don't know. You need a little bit of bass in them, you know, add a little bit of that in there with the gospel. Because Brett is, I don't know. He seems cool, but like Bao, a lot of the things he says doesn't match his facial expressions. So for me, you know, I would need a little more from him in terms of like his response, because it looks like he looked a little turned off sometimes. But you know, that's just him, clearly. But when it comes to Brett, I mean, she gonna have to get over the fact that he country. Like, it is what it is. She could learn a thing or two from him with going hunting and stuff. You never know, because something could happen. Something could go down. You might need to learn them skills. So I think she should change her perspective a little bit. And I feel like once that happens, you know, she might warm up to the idea that he's country. But I don't know why that's such a big deal to her. I mean, nobody said she had to go do a 2-step with him. Nobody said she had to go hunting with him. You know, if you like him and he make you happy, then cool. I know plenty of couples who don't like to do some of the same extracurriculars and they still happy. They make it work. But I mean, I don't really know about them. I need to see more from them.
I hear that. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Sugar Ray, you looking at me like you stunned. What's going on? Ryan and Brett, what are you saying?
Oh, there's something off about those two. There's something off about Ryan. Ryan is the guy, right? The dude. Something is off. Energy is key. And he has a sad energy, a heavy energy. That's concerning for me. I can't articulate it because I don't know why. I don't have enough evidence. So I'm throwing myself out on a limb here, but there's something off about Ryan. And Brett, it's like she's finding reasons for it not to work. Like this couple could work, but with his sad energy and her too, they're like both sourpusses in a way. I don't know. This couple, I don't know. This couple is strange. There's something suspect. There's something off, but I don't know what it is.
Totally hear you. So hear you. Something's not quite right. I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. OG. What you saying to me, man?
So, definitely I can agree. Seems like there's, a dark cloud or something going on. I know in the comments everyone is saying that his friend has passed away. So maybe that's what it is. I don't know, but I get an anxiety vibe from him. I see that. And then listen, not everybody does well on the camera. And if you are kind of a nervous kind of person, it's going to be difficult for you to show up and then get married and all of that. So I see that. And I mentioned it before. I think his family dynamics play out a lot too, because his parents were very critical of him as soon as they heard of him
True.
entering into this process. They were like, why can't my kids just be normal? Right. So he's used to being always judged for his actions, or so he's not very comfortable. And even the dad was just kind of sitting there during the wedding looking very stoic. He didn't seem to be pleased with everything. So that might be playing into why we're seeing him react that way. The other thing that I think is an interesting point is when they were dancing, and I mean, listen, this is just my observation. And I look at things like this, whether it's body language, how people interact. Brett had a very hard time just doing a simple two-step with him. And then he gave her a little spin, and it was actually, pretty cool, but she could not flow with it. She was so turned off. She was so just out of her comfort zone where she just couldn't even just let him lead her a little bit into a simple dance. She was just very much, closed off to that. And I think that, I don't know how this is going to play out in their relationship. What I also thought, and we touched on this a little bit, I got some heat for her red hair, but Ryan did say that initially she wasn't his physical type. Initially, he wasn't somebody that um, she wasn't the normal woman that he dated. Now he said, he did see that she was attractive. He mentioned the red hair. He was like, it usually, goes for somebody that is a little more on the liberal end, and I'm more conservative. So, these are little things that I'm looking out for. And then, his friends were a little rude when they talked to her, and kind of mentioned that she really wasn't his type either. They confirmed that, which I don't think that was so nice for them to say that. And then I think they were egging her on a little bit about the hunting thing. I think they were overplaying that whole part about him killing animals and hunting, and, just to kind of get a rise out of her, which was not cool. But I saw her being immediately very concerned about that. Like, is she going to have to merge into this cowboy lifestyle, which I don't really think. I didn't get that impression from him that he's somebody out here riding horses and milking cows, multiple times, a week, or that's his lifestyle. It's just, maybe some elements of things that he enjoys. So let's see how they kind of meet each other in the middle, and are able to talk through things. They were pretty comfortable with each other that first night. He took a risk. He jumped off the cliff. He jumped into bed, with just his drawers on. So that was a risky move. And she was kind of tongue in cheek with it, which I thought was cool. She was like, "Are you naked under there?" Asking him that. And I think it played out well. It seemed like, she was okay with it. She didn't feel overly uncomfortable about, being in a that physical type of intimate space with him. So for sure, I think they stand a chance, but I'd be curious to see how they bridge the gap and start to meet each other in the middle and really dive into getting to know each other.
Love that, Sean. Thank you very much. Love that. Love that. Love that. Big boy points. Yeah, I definitely hear you. I mean, all I can say about them too is, you know what? I skipped most of their part. I'm not gonna lie to you. I skipped most of their part. I just couldn't do it. I tried to, but I couldn't do it. But the parts I did catch, yeah, I saw that part where they said obviously about it's, are you his type or whatever. Da, da, da. And I just thought to myself, it wasn't really an appropriate question, I don't think, to ask somebody on their wedding day, like, yo, do you think you're his type, or do you think, etc. Like it just wasn't the right place and right time. So the friends got they need to take an L for that. But yeah, definitely hear you guys concerning them too. I do feel like Ryan's got this drawn out energy which is really, really downing and almost seems depressive at times. So yeah, I think they will need to just monitor that as they go along. Yeah, I mean, Brett seems really like a cool person. There's no particular warning signs I've seen for her just yet. But like I said, this is Married at First Sight. We know that they probably will add those twists and turns as the show goes on. Okay, let's talk about our last couple. Let's talk about our last couple, man. You already know what it is, baby. Rachel and Yose. Yose and Rachel. Yose. Mr. Perfectionist. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about this stuff. Because I think it's a good time to talk about this. The fact that my guy keeps talking about having a perfect wife, and then no one's perfect. So I want to get your kind of thought process on Yose and Rachel. Let me go to. I'm going to start with you, OG. What's your thoughts on Rachel and Yose, man?
So I think Rachel she sent our boy Jose into a tailspin when they were walking down that aisle, when she held off on letting him know if he was attractive. And we all know Jose, his personality. He really needs that reassurance. He was already concerned if his wife would be attracted to him. So she just kind of delayed it and took her time with it. But eventually she got there and cleaned it up a little bit and said he was attractive. So I think that part was a little bit of drama for us, but made Jose very nervous, almost ruined their pictures, because it took them a while to start smiling and get engaged when they were taking their wedding pictures. But I think there seems to be a connection. He seems to really be attracted to her, which for him was important. And I think that's a good place to start. The perfectionist part, rather. I don't know how all that's going to play out. I'm concerned about how she will feel, if she will start to feel judged, micromanaged by all these lists and things of how he talks about the way he manages his life. I don't know how that's going to work. And then when they talked about the part with her and the alarm clock, right? She needs several alarm clocks to wake up, and we know that Jose is very regimented. So maybe maybe that'll just be a fun thing. Or maybe that's a tease for more things to come about their personality differences. And I guess they're still dealing with this formula where we see it play out in each and every couple, where they see the opposites are going to help to balance each other out. I don't think that's a recipe for being married at first sight. I just really, really don't. But let's see how this all works. The other thing was the how did she go to? I think she had on regular pajamas, nothing different there. He kind of had this little funny thing with her. I think that they were, I think they were the most comfortable with each other out of the couples, outside of Zack and Michaela. They seemed the most comfortable together that night. They talked, they had some fun. He definitely, there seems to be some chemistry there between the two of them. I got a chance to even watch a little bit of her Unfiltered, which I thought was very telling. She mentioned that they're very similar, and in a lot of ways, that they were identical on several points. So I think that's interesting. It's going to be, and that he was also very giving to her and caring, wanting to make sure she was okay. And she even said, it was kind of like role reversal for her, where she's used to, the woman doing more of that. So I don't know how that's all going to play out, if she's just going to continue to enjoy that, or if she's going to want him to step more into his masculine role and be more of a masculine presence. And that might be a cause for contention. He is short, so let's hope the respect factor is there from her to him, and then from him to her, that he can just allow her to be her in her space and not trying to manage her. Those are my thoughts on those two.
Thank you very much, Sean. I appreciate that. Really appreciate that, bro. Let me ask you a question. Obviously with Jose, he did take it quite hard when she didn't say about him looking good, but spoke about personality. I mean, is that something to get annoyed over on the first day? I mean, the girl was pretty much said, I love your personality. Do you know what I'm saying? And and the brother's already mentioned the fact that his nose and how short he is. Man's already taking himself out the game. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, is it too much the way he felt about?
I think he's sensitive, and for a sensitive person, yeah, and that's one of the reasons I mentioned his height, because it seems like either they're the same height, or he might be slightly taller than her from how I saw in their pictures. I don't really know how short she is, but he definitely mentioned being below 6 feet. So I think that probably plays into his insecurity, and with her not validating him, because that was top of mind. He said it straight out the gate. Like, I want to make sure my wife is attracted to me. I hope I'm what she expects. So for somebody like him, yeah, it's important. For somebody else that has more confidence, for me, I might not be as sensitive to it, but I would expect a compliment. He did compliment her, and you would expect that, you say you're handsome, or, nice suit, say something in response after several compliments. I think as men, we don't need that much, but there is some level of compliments, especially if you're meeting somebody for the first time and you're about to marry them. You want to feel like, okay, they can see themselves with me, and they're attractive. I'm attracted to, to them.
Good points there. Strong. Brittany, talk to me. Jose, Rachel, working, not working, problem that he was a bit sensitive, but it's a perfectionist.
I don't really have a problem with him being sensitive. It's more so the perfectionist side of it. Working with, is her Rachel? That's her name, right? Rachel's situation coming out of something after only 6 months. Just because you lose weight, you feel good and you have confidence, doesn't mean that you're ready to just jump into another relationship. Because those values that you begin to receive while you're losing the weight and after, those have to like simmer in to your personality a little bit, because they can get what's the word I'm looking for? You can easily become moved out of those spaces, those positive spaces of where you think you are and what you think you can do. It takes time for that stuff to marinate. Like, you really have to grow into that stuff. And that takes a lot of time. Well, not a lot. I can't say that for everybody, but 6 months, I'm not gonna say it's alarming, but it's just I felt like it was just a little too soon for her to feel like she can stand her ground. But thankfully, she did have her friends. She does have her friends around to keep her accountable. But going up against somebody like Jose, who is like, perfectionist to a T, I mean, homeboy got boxes that need to be checked off. He said this many times, even mentioned it in the trailer for what's to come. And I don't know anybody who can work with someone who's such a perfectionist, because there's no space for like any mistakes. And she's just coming out of a space of finding herself, which I'm very proud of her for, because that is hard to do. And to stand up to somebody who's done you wrong. But are you ready to really be in a marriage with somebody who is as particular and meticulous as he is? I mean, homeboy talks about all of his accomplishments like it's pure gold. I mean, and my question is, what is he going to expect from her? Because she's still growing into the woman that she is now. And I'm nervous for her, but even with your friends holding you accountable, you have to hold yourself accountable as well. Because when you make those slip-ups, you got to be able to come right back and like reevaluate yourself and make sure nobody is pulling you out of who you want to be. My thing is, she is talking about things she wants to be, but is she really those things that she says she is now, which is being ready? I don't think it's really there yet, but we'll see. It's a possibility. I don't know, because I have to see how things play out. But I'm nervous for the both of them, because she's new into her weight loss thing and getting her mind right mentally. And now you get thrown almost a curveball dealing with somebody that's so much of a perfectionist, that has everything in line for themselves. I mean, homeboy paid off all his school debt, got 2 properties. He's set. Now, mentally, he ain't set, but he acts like he is. But when it comes to Rachel, she may still have a little bit of work to do when it comes to, just holding down the fort when it comes to who she is. So, but we'll see how things play out. I really am interested to see how things work, and if she's going to, like, I don't want to say put him in his place, but let him know when he's overstepping, and when something is not going to work for her. Like, she has to know when to put her foot down. And they both have to create boundaries, honestly, dealing with personalities like his.
Definitely hear that. Definitely hear that. Definitely hear that. Thank you for that, Brittany. Yeah, I definitely hear what you're saying about the recent relationship that potentially could be a problem as well. So definitely hear that. 6 months ago that she had that relationship and got cheated on as well. So yeah, it doesn't bode well if she's going to be dating or married, to Jose, who's a perfectionist. It seems like all his life almost. Thank you very much. Siwe, you want to?
Yeah, Jose's a fool, to be honest.
God damn, sis, you gonna go so hard.
He is a whole fool. That is all I could think about their entire conversation after the wedding. Poor Rachel. Oh my goodness, she is just so sweet. Her energy is beyond sweet. It just radiates from the screen. And she was like intently listening to him and trying to follow. And this man is asking when her lease is up and talking a whole lot. I'm like, bro, you're giving me kind of scary vibes. I wasn't a fan. In the beginning, I appreciated him knowing, as our fave Kevin Samuels would say, his market value. I appreciated him saying, like, I'm short, I got a big nose, I ain't for everybody. I love that type of realism. I wish everybody knew their lane and stayed in it. So that part didn't bother me. I appreciated him knowing like his lane. But then instead of like working on being secure in that lane, he's overcompensating with his money instead of like trying to be secure in where he's at and trying to find someone who loves him for him with his quote unquote downfalls. So I think Jose definitely has short people syndrome. He definitely is using his money to overcompensate for that. And I do think because Rachel is such a sweet person and she's very aware, it's in the front of her mind, if she loses her voice in situations. I do agree with Britt that I think she's working on finding her voice. I don't think she's found it 100% yet. And matching her with someone like Jose, who literally has enough voice for 3 people, not just one, I'm not sure how that's going to work. I think Rachel would have been fine matched with somebody. But I don't know how matching with Jose is going to work. And I don't know what woman wants a man talk about, do you think I'm cute? Do you think I'm handsome? Him and Johnny with this crap. Am I this? Am I that? Like, if we got to tell you all that, if I got to sit here and remind you that you handsome, like, that's what we supposed to be doing. Like, you supposed to call me pretty. That's what we do. If I got to sit here and tell my dude that you handsome every day, that's a no for me. That's a no for me. Maybe that would work for Rachel because she's, again, a sweetheart. But if I got to tell my dude he's handsome every day, he would be barking up the wrong tree. You better know you handsome. You know what you bring to the table. Why I gotta keep telling you that? So I don't know. I'm a big concern about Mr. Jose in general. I don't know who he needs to be matched with, to be honest. He's one of the people, when he first popped on the screen, I'm like, I don't know who is meant for you because you are a trip. So prayers up for Rachel. That's all I got. And I hope she learned how to stand 10 toes down and find her voice because she gonna need it with Jose. So that's what I got.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah, he definitely did say about the lease thing as well. He actually said something else which was far more concerned. I don't know if you guys picked it up. He actually said to her that I get my own way. I want my own way, and I get my own way. He actually added the emphasis, I get my own way. I said, oh, sir, you gonna be on some show after this that ain't gonna be quite right. Like, the way you talking right now sounds hella like, I don't want to say even controlling. Sounds hella dominant. You know what I'm saying? Like you going to be getting your own way. That's what you said. And I said, I don't know if Rachel has her voice ready for this one. Okay, she felt it though. She knew it was problematic. She knew it was a problem. But whether she has the voice to put a boundary there, I'm not sure just yet. Who hasn't spoken? Sorry, I think I cut someone else. Who hasn't spoken yet? Has everyone hit? Chris Natha, you haven't gone yet. And Ray hasn't gone yet. Okay, Chris Natha, go for it.
Jose. Well, I can say that they are a good-looking couple. I think they look good together. Yes, he's short, but they look good together. Similar to what you just shared, Kojo, he was talking about his list, and then he says he always gets what he wants. With this attitude, once again, I don't know why people are coming into these marriages on Married at First Sight thinking that they are not going to adjust. They're going to get their way all the time. That's not realistic. You can do this when you're single because you ain't got to change, right? So I just think that that's absolutely insane. I think that's absolutely insane. I like Rachel. I think she's super bubbly, happy. She's very pretty. So we'll see how this works with Jose's shenanigans. When she kept saying personality, she said that. Well, see, I don't know if she said it that many times or if production made it to where we heard that so many times, but she kept saying the word personality. And so I thought that was funny because he was really stressed out about that. So he's going to have some counseling, some therapy, something, because she can't reassure him all the time. So I look forward to seeing what happens. If Rachel is going to, how she's going to deal with this, basically. Another thing, I don't know if we were going to get there or not, but his stepmom doing the absolute most. I know production probably asked her to ask this question, or maybe they didn't. I don't know. But why is his stepmom, I believe, telling his wife that she needs to be having sex with him? Ma'am, stay out my vagina.
When did this happen? I missed that part. That's probably the part I skipped.
Mm-hmm. It happened like during the wedding reception. there was a conversation, and she's like, the stepmom, what's a stepmom, went so far as like, have a couple drinks or something like that. Basically, get drunk if you need to. I don't know. I just didn't like it. Like, stay out my vagina. Thank you, ma'am. But I didn't like that. But anyway, once again, people crossing the line. Like, don't talk to me about this. She was sweet about it. I think she sat there and listened, but you taking it too far. Production, stop it already. It's like, it's too much. I don't even care, right? Have sex, don't have sex, that's y'all business. But yeah, Jose, I don't know. And he says that he wanted a perfect marriage. I don't know if it was just him or they both kept saying that. Their bubble will be burst very soon because it's not going to be perfect at all. So we'll see what happens. But I don't know about this one. And when he kept asking her about when is her lease up, seeming frustrated about where she lives versus where she works, I know those cities those areas that he was mentioning, and they are they're about an hour apart or so. So I don't know why that was such a big deal. But I was like, okay, they're about an hour apart from each other. Why is he so upset or frustrated? It seemed. I didn't get it. So we'll see in the upcoming episodes what happens. But Jose needs to calm down. So those are my thoughts.
I'm starting to feel for this Jose guy, bro. It's a bit political still. Ray, take us away. What do you think about the Jose situation? Oh, wait, you're on silent. Sis, you're on silent. You see, you're on silent. You're on silent.
Hear ye.
Go for it. We can hear
Yo,
you.
yo. Hear ye. Ray, I go love short bed. Hear ye. Ray, I go love short bed.
Sugar Ray, I don't know what you want, girl. I don't know what you want. It is far too late in the evening to be doing this.
I'm tired. It's like almost 6 a.m. here.
I know. Oh, yeah, I forgot.
I think I'm delusional now.
I hope not.
Okay, no, look, Jose be wearing me out. So this is why I had to put some, positive energy before I got into Jose's behind. Okay. I like Jose. I do. I wish he didn't talk so much about his height because I'm 6 feet and I would date him. So I don't understand why, why height. Is height really an issue? Like, I'm 6 feet. Like, I've dated men 5'6", 5'8", 5'10", 6'4", 7'1". Like, I don't know. I hear this a lot from men and women, this whole short thing, and I don't get it. Because horizontally, it doesn't really matter, right? Like vertically, but horizontal, like, I don't know. I don't understand it. And that's just blocking all his blessings. It's gonna block all he's overcompensating and I don't know. And Rachel is fragile. She just lost a whole bunch of weight. Like, hey, Ray, I want your short man. Hey, let me stop. That's it.
I don't know what was wrong with Sugar Ray out here. Sugar looks like it's got to her. Evidently.
Ray, you got one more time to this.
Block and delete. Nah, it's all good. No, I appreciate you first of all anyway, Ray. But yeah, definitely hear you because I think what's happened with Jose, for me, insecurity. And I think it's the most dangerous thing. That's fueling his perfectionism, but I think it's gonna fuel his controlling behavior as well, right? So that whole when's your lease up, saying obviously I get what I want. You're saying all and then saying obviously what your insecurities are. You're short. Your nose is a problem. That need to cover that insecurity with control and trying to have dominance is where we're gonna find issues, right? And I just don't know if Rachel has developed her voice, her raw. As Tyler, as what's her name? Katy Perry says her raw yet. I don't know if she's actually got it yet. So in that case, we're going potentially what we could see is someone dwindling in the course of the relationship. But we thank God she told her friends, if I start to change or I start to dwindle, let me know. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate her for that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get everybody's concluding thoughts because we've reached the 3-hour mark and we're slightly past it this time today. Please, everyone, keep it between a minute and a minute and a half, no longer. your ending point. So speed through all the 5 couples and give me your responses. Okay. Brittany, can you give us your closing summary?
Sure. Okay. So, I don't know. These couples are kind of out of whack this year. I don't really know what to make of them. But I will just say this for Jose: you must be out your mind if you think that you're gonna be controlling any and everything around here. Because when he said that, it just took me all the way back. And I don't think anybody caught Rachel's face when he asked her about that lease, because sis was not with it. She was like, "Excuse me, relax, sir. Get it together." I hope Rachel get him together at some point, because I'm sure she will.
Appreciate that, Brittany. See way.
I'm gonna do some predictions because I haven't done this. Mirla and Gil will not make it. Disaster. Blame it on the experts. Bao and Johnny will make it. They're gonna get it together. Brett and Ryan, I'm gonna go with will make it on decision day. I don't know about forever. I'm missing. Who am I missing? Hold on, help me. Oh, Rachel and Jose will not make it. Jose will ruin it. He needs to be in someone's therapy, and yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm missing somebody, guys. But
Michaela and Zach.
Michaela and Zach will make it. They will have a chaotic season. We will enjoy it and watch it go up and down, but they're gonna make it. Thank you. That's my predictions.
Thank you, Seaway. Shaun, OG. Locked and loaded.
So I don't know. I think it may be too early to give predictions just yet, because I want to see a little bit more evidence. You know, I want to see a little bit more evidence before I give my verdict. So, but what I will say is some red flags and words of caution. So we'll start with Brett and Ryan. So I think it's going to be, are they going to be good dancing partners? Right? Are they going to be able to two-step together? So I'm watching out for that, and I want to see how they're going to be able to two-step and navigate the dance of their relationship. Jose and Rachel, I think they have a lot in common. They seem to have a connection. I'm just curious to see how they're going to be able to overcome Jose's list, right? Are they going to be able to overcome his perspectives on it's my way and you're just falling into my lifestyle, and how he and Rachel will be able to navigate that. Then we have Mirla and Gil, rather. I'm a little challenged with that. Listen, I hope I'm wrong, but she has a lot of growth to do, a lot of willingness to have conversations, willingness to cooperate, willingness to just the list goes on. So I'm cautiously hopeful for those two, but let's see how that pans out. Zach and Michaela, Hurricane K is going to have to be downgraded from a 5 to a 1 in order for those two to be able to navigate that relationship. If she can get a hold of her emotions and he can learn how to communicate with her, could definitely work out, and I'm hopeful about that, but that emotional imbalance is a concern for me. And then who am I missing? Am I missing anybody? Bao and Johnny. So Bao and Johnny, the walls have got to come down, Bao. Tear down those walls, remove those pillows, and have the conversation and be open. Be open to hear what your husband wants and open to see how that can look and work in your life so you guys can have a happy marriage.
General, locked and loaded. Thank you as always. We appreciate you, sir. We appreciate you, sir. Chris Natha, give us your quick summary, please.
Absolutely. Well, I do have some hope for some of the couples. Um, I have hope for Bao and Johnny. So hopefully they'll continue to talk and they can meet in the middle concerning physical touch and just their needs in general. Um, Rachel and Jose, I really, really hope that, well, it's going to be hard. I was going to say, I hope that he really calms that down, but he's been this way for such a while now. I hope that he realizes that it cannot just be your way. You're in a relationship. Brett and Ryan, I think they're going to be okay. I think as they spend more time talk, they're going to be okay. I feel good about them. Um, Gil and Myla, I am nervous about them. I don't know if they're going to make it. I think with all the couples, I just want to say you have to adjust. There has to be some adjustments and compromises. With Michaela and Zach, I'm nervous about Hurricane Michaela and the Zack attack. We will see in upcoming episodes if they're able to meet in the middle and be able to have some type of temperance concerning their emotions. So we'll see.
Thank you, Chris Natha. We appreciate you. Sugar Ray, if you could take us away into the benediction and give us your last thoughts on the couples.
For me, I agree with Sean. It's too early. I don't have enough facts, evidence, proof, right? I don't have anything tangible yet. What I will say is, and I repeat this often, is service to one another. If we're thinking about the other person and how we can make their life better, how we can make their time on this earth better, how we can support them more, and the other person is doing the same thing to you, to me, that is something that would work. And I'm not sure if these couples understand what that is, if they know what that is, if they know how to do it, if they have the facility, the capacity, the belief, the understanding, and if it's something that they can choose to do on a daily basis. So I don't know. I have to see how this plays out. Plus, this is my first season of Married at First Sight. Like a lot of you know, past seasons, this is my first season. So I'm learning the format, the method, production's hands. So let's see, but I'm excited. And thanks for having me as always, Kojo. It's a pleasure.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you, Sugar Ray. Can you guys hear me? Right. Okay, good. So thank you very much, team. We appreciate you. You guys came in strong with the conversation. I think it's a little bit early. I think that's why we will start making some real judgments in the coming weeks. I think it's a bit early. And you know what? I'm not going to lie to you, but they are dragging these weddings. Like, bruv, I need you to get into the meat of the show, okay? Like, y'all give us 4 or 5 hours of weddings unnecessarily. And it's the way you shot it didn't even make me want to watch like 4 or 5 hours of wedding things. If you're going to do that next time, Lifetime TV, hopefully you guys hear me, okay? Please shoot it like a movie. Shoot the wedding like a movie so I can enjoy it. Don't shoot no half-hearted shooting that you guys normally do and then give me a 4-hour show. It doesn't make sense. Dragging stuff that doesn't need to drag. So, yeah. But yes, thank you guys so much for giving us your thoughts. Audience members, thank you because you guys got involved. You joined in. You know, you gave us your thoughts as well. We had some laughs in the comment section as well. So, again, once more, I want to thank my lovely panelists. I don't know if anyone has anything to promote before we go. Anybody have anything to promote? Anything you want to promote? Any of your stuff here before we go? Chris Nafa, you got a YouTube. Ray, you got a YouTube. Ray
YouTube,
first,
yeah.
and Chris Nafa, go for it.
I'm new on YouTube. I'm going to post a new video tomorrow. So basically, I'm a Brooklyn girl in Paris, artist. You know, it's sort of a different theme than this environment. But come over and join me and support me and see what I'm doing here in Paris and as I travel all over the world being an artist.
Appreciate it, Ray. Thank you. Chris Nafa.
Thank you, Kojo. I appreciate it. You can find me on YouTube at Chris Natha TV. Go over and subscribe. I share some videos, some life coaching videos, as well as some inspirational things, and I'll be reviewing some shows really, really soon. Thank you.
Appreciate Chris Natha. Anybody else want to promote their thing? No? Fantastic. All right, cool. Well, audience members, thank you so much. We're here again. Listen, we're back here on Saturday night. Okay, what we're going to be talking about, obviously, put a ring on it. Did Kai sleep with Darian? We're about to find out on this episode. It's just got tasty. It just got tasty. It just got tasty. So, appreciate you guys. On the way out, make sure you like it and you subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't done so already. We will see you again on Saturday night and potentially a little secret interview on Monday. So join us. Keep yourself posted. Maybe I'll have something cheeky for you on a Monday night, okay? All right, reserve your diaries, all right, for that space. Appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay loaded. We'll go out with a local outro.
Little black, you know what time it is.